Maybe. Hello, sports entertainment fans, and welcome to the We Can't Wrestle podcast presents this week's edition of That's Not Wrestling. On this week's edition, when we get into the meat of the matter, the only two things that I have notes on, bothered to take notes on this week, because I think we can fill an hour, are last night's WWE Extreme Rules show and last week's AEW Fight for the Fallen Dynamite. Which I have plenty of opinions on both, some which may surprise you. However, before we do that, I'd like to welcome anybody viewing the show and Mr. Kyle Army, my co-host, for being with me here again this week as we trudge through the week that was in sports entertainment.
You know, it's a bittersweet fucking day because on the one hand, I said if they literally show an eyeball getting pulled out, that I'm done watching.
And they didn't.
What? They did.
But they didn't.
And I went in hoping. I was like, you know what? Maybe this is my excuse. This is my get out. And they didn't do it, so I'm stuck watching it some more.
And that's okay because we will get to that match, and I have more good to say about that than I do bad.
It was a really good match.
Wait, we got the Chris Wood is here as well.
Hi, Chris.
I never seen the link. I was actually waiting and I'd never seen it.
So
it popped up that you guys were live and I was like, wait, what? No!
Did you catch the beginning of what we said?
No.
Okay. Essentially on this show we're just going to talk about last night's pay-per-view and AEW show from last week, because I have a lot to say on both. Kyle said he was, as he mentioned last week, he was going to swear off WWE main roster if there was an eye, like a CGI kind of thing. CGI, get it? Which did not happen. And I told him that I have more good to say about that show than I have bad to say, and we'll get to that. Now, and I see your face, and I know, and I'm gonna elaborate on where my defenses are, and the fact that by no means am I saying this was a really good show, but I'm gonna defend it a little bit.
It was a night of non-finishes.
It was, and that's the point I'll get to, is a lot of bell-to-bell action during this show. The workers worked hard. There were really good matches, but they had shitty finishes. The one other thing I wanted to announce on this week's show, we've talked about on probably, I don't know, at least 5 to 6 of these shows how I am incompetent when it comes to Impact. And I have been told by a number of people, including Chris, good things about Impact over the past decade. Mm-hmm. So I have made a decision that I am going to try really hard every week to start watching Impact. And even to help myself with that, today, I subscribe to Impact Plus so I can go back and watch some of the old stuff and catch up.
And you're going to start Impact at a great time, considering Gallows, Anderson, Eric Young, and EC3 are all there now.
Yeah. I mean, that pay-per-view sounded like it was actually really good. And I'm interested. And again, it's funny because I'm going to go back and watch old stuff, and this old stuff is going to be new to me. There's very few old things that are new to me. So it's going to be fun for me to go back and watch the product, and maybe we can bring it up here and talk about some of the angles I'm seeing and stuff from fucking 2005 and such. It'll be fun for me. It's going to be a fun little journey for me watching Impact. So I guess we'll start with last night's show. It was WWE Extreme Rules, either horror show or horrible show, depending on how you look at it.
What?
Yes.
So, what? Archie Mitchell is live now in the asylum. Archie, what are you doing cutting into our time, man?
Rude.
What are you doing, man? Come on. It's infringement. No. The horror show at Extreme Rules. And it was a horror at times.
It was.
It
Goldie just commented 2002 to 2004 TNA was amazing. I'm about to find out, David.
And honestly, I just watched SmackDown before Extreme Rules today.
Mm-hmm.
It helped. Somewhat. Not a lot, but some, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
We have new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. I didn't see that coming.
No, and that's the first match I have my notes on. I haven't been a fan of tables matches since the early 2000s just because it always seems, I don't know, it seems like it was a novelty then, and now it's just...
They're never consistent for me.
No, you're right.
One tag team table match, both members have to go through a table. Another, like last night, just one member had to go through a table.
Yeah.
Now watch the next tables match. It'll be both members have to go through tables.
Yeah.
And it's also because you become desensitized to it. Because the fact is, it's kind of like the ladder matches now. You know, if there's a ladder match, someone's going through that ladder. It's going to break in half.
Or somebody's going to do the spin-a-rooney with the ladder.
Terry Funk.
Yeah. The one thing that I did appreciate about that last night was the best thing about that was a good match. They had a good match. There was some good action. But the thing that I put down here that I enjoyed the most about the match was actually the end, in that I can't remember the last time I saw someone so convincingly sell a table spot as Kofi did last night.
Oh,
like he, after the fact, he really, really sold it. Like you felt like, damn, these guys did beat this guy. He did an amazing sell job on that table spot.
Yes, he did. And I'd like to say that maybe we're going to see some type of push out of Nakamura and Cesaro, but no.
No. Now when it comes to Nakamura, Nate can't have that satisfaction.
No.
Nope. Vince McMahon's like, Nate Maxson really likes that Nakamura. Let's give him a belt, but then fuck him in the ass on TV.
I can't pronounce his name, so no push now.
You know what's funny, though? Like, I was hoping, the sadistic part of me was hoping that last night when they were posing on the table with Nakamura and Cesaro at the very end, before they went into break for posing on the table, that table just fucking snapped as they're sitting on it.
Was I the only one getting New Day's going to split up vibes from this?
I've been hearkening for that for about a year now.
Kofi was very snappy, to where even commentary brought it up.
Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, that's not where I wanted it to go. I really wanted it to be, if they split, and it is what it is, but if they split them up, my ideal thing was always, I picture Big E as a monster heel with Xavier as his shitty little mouthpiece against a babyface Kofi. That's
but maybe they are trying to swerve us and misdirect them.
To swerve,
WWE.
bro.
They ain't fucking doing that. It's fucking WWE. They ain't fucking misdirecting nothing.
Well, that, and honestly, I think Big E has, since with Xavier gone, Big E has got more charismatic personality than Kofi at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he does. He does.
I don't know if he could pull off heel anymore. He would have to literally decimate Kofi. In order for Big E to be heel, he would have to be solo, because it would have to be as soon as Xavier came back.
I think the problem
and
is
him just beat the shit out of both of them, because that'd be the only way people would get mad.
Here's the problem with Big E being a face. It's you have so many big, burly guys that are faces, with Otis, with Braun Strowman, with Keith Lee and stuff. Like, so it's like he just gets lost in the shuffle. It's like, oh, here's another, I don't want to say shucking and jiving big guy, but that's kind of what it is.
That's kind of what it is. Yeah, I mean, you're not.
It's like, all right.
The thing is, I still think Braun being a face is asinine.
Oh, I agree. I think it is too.
Like, he just doesn't even look like a good guy.
No.
Like, you doesn't. Look at him and you're like, you could be a supervillain in the MCU.
Like Ric Flair. Anytime Ric Flair was,
you could whoop Thanos' ass. I mean,
We'll get to Braun and his mushroom-fueled fever dream here in a little bit. Bayley and Nikki Cross, good match. Wrong finish, I think.
Remind me. Bayley had my favorite moment of the night.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, so
remind me. I'll get when we get to that.
That anything on that match that anybody has any thoughts on, other than the fact
I don't understand why we have to have the schmoz finish at a pay-per-view. It seems like WWE has been crutching on that a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, that's a Monday night or Friday night finish. That's
right.
Not a pay-per-view finish.
And you're not wrong. And this pay-per-view had a lot of that. And it's like it almost feels like, and I say it, but it almost feels like those days at WCW where it was like the pay-per-view was just to get to the next night's Nitro.
Yep.
And that's, I mean, I guess in today's environment, WWE could justify it and say, well, it's just $10 a month on the network with all the other shit you get.
Yeah, I mean, I'm to the point I can't even tell pay-per-views anymore because I'm not going to lie, last night, if I was like on the computer not paying total attention, I would hear a commercial like it was TV, and I grabbed the remote to fast forward. I was like, "Oh, wait,
it's a pay-per-view."
That never used to happen.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's like remember when Disney Channel was actually like a cable channel, and then they started getting commercials, and it just shit all over it.
Yeah.
That's what happened to the pay-per-views now.
And you're not wrong. It's.
Like back in the day, we would get a sponsored by or brought to you or presented by, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
We'd get maybe like a couple Mountain Dew plugs during the show, and that would be it.
Yeah, and now you have full-on commercials, and it started at WrestleMania a couple of years ago.
Commercial.
You have old.
When that it was funny because when that happened, I was looking at my other computer screen and I heard "Welcome Back, Cotter" come on, and I was like, "Wait, did I turn on MeTV? What happened just then? What's going on here?"
That's when I went to grab the remote to fast forward through commercials. I actually grabbed my DVR remote and I was hitting. I was like, "What's that?" Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That's why I watch it on a delay.
Last night I watched the whole thing on delay because I worked late, so I had to watch it when I got home, and it was funny because I thought it was going to be a blessing, but to be honest, because I've said I liked a lot of the in-ring in this show, I actually didn't wind up fast forwarding through a lot of it, to be honest. What is that noise outside? Oh my goodness, what is going on? All right, anyway.
It's Archie.
It's Archie.
Jesus.
He's clamoring to get in. The MVP thing was stupid.
You mean the Russo book?
Yeah, that was dumb. Why? Does anybody know why?
Well, the rumor is, I bet you can probably guess why he wasn't there, according to the rumor. COVID. Apparently, the rumor is he tested positive.
Here's my question. When you have a guy like Bobby Lashley on your roster who can prove that he's done great things, why in hell's MVP
the one that claims the title?
Yeah, what?
Wait, I don't know, and I'm not dissing MVP at all. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate MVP or anything, but my whole thing about his this run around that he's had, I'm like, what is this? What is going on?
He's like, I'm done, guys.
Yeah, but back in January after the Rumble, wasn't he like, yeah, I'm not going to work for WWE anymore? COVID came around, he changed his mind. I don't know.
It was probably COVID came around and they were grasping because everyone was like, I'm going to stay home. And MVP was like, I'm standing right here. Good. Put some gear on it. Shit.
My chance to get a fucking push, guys.
They're gonna sign MVP, but they're not gonna keep Gallows and Anderson. Okay. And the fucked up thing about that Gallows and Anderson thing is they offered them all that money to stay, and then like 3 months later they fire them. It's bullshit. It's absolute fucking bullshit.
You know what happened when they got fired? You know what happened, don't you? In Canada, Brett was like, feel you on that one, buddy.
He's gonna say good brothers screwed good brothers.
Might as well ask them to commit suicide on a character standpoint. Jesus.
Might as well just rape you in the ring, right in the middle of the ring, just rape you.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, back to the pay-per-view. Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio. All right, here we go. Hear me out. I'm going to give my diatribe, and then I'll let you both speak on the matter. First of all, Kyle,
Yes.
we discussed it last week, and they didn't do it, so we have to give them that. They didn't do any crazy CGI crap. Now, what happened looked fakey and silly, and I will get to that. But I will. Here's where I'm going to come at. Here's where I'm going to come at the internet a little bit. And a lot of the group, and I'm surprised more people aren't watching the show tonight because they shouldn't be watching Raw. Because from what I heard from everybody in the fucking internet last night is they are done.
What did Kevin Nash say? Like I'm not going to never watch another fucking pay-per-view until the next month.
Yeah, until next month. But okay, here's my 3 things about this. First of all, the match itself was good. I thought bell to bell, the match was a good match. They worked well together, and I did not find anything really at fault with the match itself. Secondly, yes, the eyeball thing was stupid. Okay.
And in all fairness, I didn't even see the eyeball until like the screenshots afterwards.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Like when I was watching it, I never seen that whole little like holding the eyeball.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even see that when I was watching it.
Right.
I guess because my mentality was I was looking for a blood pack somewhere to make it believable.
Right.
But I didn't see a blood pack, so I wasn't really paying attention. And
Instead,
then I seen these stills of him holding this like
little novel eye.
This little Spirit Halloween baggie of eyeballs.
And there's where I go. Here we go. Okay, the match was decent. The stipulation never should have existed. Okay, we've established that. However, where I'll defend them is they delivered on the stipulation. They didn't cop out. And third, here's where I'll come to the match's defense a little bit. I saw a lot of people saying stuff like, it's outrageous, that it's technically a crime, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but these are a lot of the same people that didn't have a complaint when in 1998 at the King of the Ring, the match between Steve Austin and Kane was the loser will be set on fire in the middle of the ring.
In 1998, they weren't publicly traded.
And you're right. I'm talking about the fans. I'm talking about the online critics that will praise Austin and Kane.
When they were a public company in 2002, Triple H basically left Shawn Michaels in a blood, his own blood, put his head through.
And then in 2003, he diddled a dead lady.
Yeah. So I'll say this: yes, the stipulation was stupid, but I got to tell you, I enjoyed watching because these two guys brought it. Like they sold the intensity of trying to take the other guy's eye out. If that makes any sense,
right?
Like you truly felt like they were actually trying to do something.
And that's what I was saying about the whole show is it's the workers work very well. It's the shitty booking they're presented with that hurts it so much.
For me, with this match, sorry, go ahead.
No, the thing that got me was the end with Seth Rollins throwing up.
Archie's here to see your shoulders, by the way, Kyle. Show a little shoulder, would you?
You don't get to say anything, Archie, because you fucking went live in the asylum while we were doing this. So you were supposed to be on here, sir, to debate Nate for this.
Yeah, what happened, Mister? I will be there to call your shit.
Archie is definitely part of the We Can't Wrestle family now because them balls get busted and it's great. But what was your deal on this, Chris? What was your thought?
They overhyped it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got so tired of during this whole buildup of hearing commentary, rip the eye from the socket, rip the eye. Anybody with an IQ higher than that of a fucking ficus knew that shit wasn't going to happen, so stop saying it. We're not
right.
You killed kayfabe years ago. Stop trying to build this up like it's really going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole shebang and after like doing this whole traumatizing build-up for it, after the match is over, sit there with the shoot quiet voice that I know probably bugged the shit out of Nate.
And we inducted that into the Hall of Shame last year. Did we not, Kyle? I think Kyle actually brought it to the table.
But they did that and then had the audacity to go, I hope he recovers. Motherfucker, you just spent the last 2.5 weeks saying they got to rip their eye out of their goddamn head. Now you're going to say, I hope he'll be okay. No.
Now,
and then it's like, welcome back.
What I will say is this is where Bailey fucking like had the best moment of the night.
She had a DX moment of the night. That was like a
my
DX line.
To sit there and be like, I watched Ray and I said he's never gonna get to see me beat
You're
Bailey
not
two
seeing
belts
double.
again. Like,
Yeah,
I love the fact that she had that somber tone and she fucking turned it on itself. Like that was just fucking great.
That was totally a DX. Like that's exactly what I thought of. Was I was like, that's like something Sean and Hunter would have done in '97. That was good stuff. And she's a great. You know what? I was not happy when they turned her heel. She has become a great heel. I really enjoy her.
Think she's outdoing Sasha with the heel work.
She is. And Sasha, you guys know, Sasha Belle to Belle is my favorite women's wrestler. But as far as mic work and psychology and attitude, Bailey, I gotta eat my words on her, because I thought when they turned her heel, I was like, man, there's no way that works. Not yet. She hasn't been a big face long enough. And
sidebar real quick, since we're on a female topic real quick, Lacey, I know that you've been all adamant about her not being a face and everything, and it looks like they're making her heel again. But from what I've seen, since I'm caught up on SmackDown now, this is the most asinine go back to heel.
It is. You're right.
Well, the thing is, if with the whole social media presence and everything, if anybody is anybody, oh god,
oh no.
I heard some people were talking shit.
I just want to say that I apologize for any comments that I. How you doing, buddy?
Go ahead, Chris.
The whole Lacey thing, starting to go a heel over a karaoke contest, when everybody knows goddamn well she can sing. that whole karaoke angle just came across rigged as hell.
Oh, it was stupid.
It was really bad.
I mean, they're turning her heel on the most asinine thing ever.
Welcome, Archie Mitchell, to the program.
Hi, Archie.
Hi, Chris.
Archie, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Nick Kyle, how you doing?
I heard you guys. Archie's screwing everything up with his not horizontal camera angle.
For the viewers, it looks fine though. For some reason,
there we go.
But Archie, did you?
I heard guys talking shit, so I figured I'd come in.
Did you hear Have you heard my justification for what I was saying last night?
No, he's been too busy lying about his own stream.
Not just about the eye for an eye, but the whole show. The reason I said last night when I posted that was not that the finishes in every single match in this thing were silly and stupid. What I'm defending the show is I'm defending the workers because they all brought it.
Well,
I saw really good matches last night.
Here's my thing though. This is why I disagree with you. And it's not just for the sake of disagreeing with you. It's not because I want to be the other guy, The Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre match.
We're not that far yet. You hold up. We're not that far.
No. But hold on. It was predictable. The Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins match was predictable. Did anybody believe Seth was going to lose an eye? Rey doesn't have a contract right now.
Actually, the rumor was that Seth might lose because there was talk that he was going to go be with Becky.
He is with Becky. They live in Florida.
No,
she's already seen his one-eyed monster.
Yeah.
No, you know what I mean though. Like the rumor was that he might actually be losing this to go away
for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, but Rey doesn't have a contract, so why would you let an uncontracted star be one of your mega stars? Just because, you know what I mean?
And
Mhm.
you want to talk about predictable. We all know where this is going. It's going to end up being Dominic versus Seth Rollins.
Right, or Dominic's joining Seth Rollins, and it's going to break Ray's heart.
I was actually thinking, honestly, watching it, I thought Dominic was going to come down to save Ray and
Right.
turn on him.
Right. I
That's
was waiting
honestly
for it
where
too.
I thought it was going to go.
If this is
And why-
1999, he would have turned on Ray and then came
They
back.
they would he would have turned on him already, and they'd be back together by now.
It should have been. You know, want to hear the truth?
It could have been
Instead
great. They could have had Dom come out and help with the eye, be like, "This is for the ladder match."
Right.
And
You know, I would have done. Forget about eye for an eye. They
Where
should
the
have had.
fuck is Vicky?
They should have had Dominic on a pole again.
They
They
had
should have
Dominic.
hoisted Dominic on a pole and let them fight for it. For him.
He's taller than both of them.
Right.
I always joke that Rey Mysterio standing next to Dominic looks like me standing next to my son.
You know,
Me just looking up. You know.
people make jokes that he could really be Eddie's son, but he's actually like 5 inches taller than Eddie ever was too.
Mhm.
So that kid's got height from somewhere. Vicky was creeping.
So and all right. So the other thing I said, Archie, was a lot of the and I said I was going to use this to attack the internet guys today.
Mm-hmm.
Not attack, but kind of shit on them a little bit.
Right.
I told these guys about, as far as the hype for this match goes, a lot of people talking about it's unbelievable. It should be
I
he'd
agree.
be arrested.
I agree.
And in '98, it was Kane or Steve Austin were gonna set each other on fire. That was the best match that I could compare it to as far as a
98.
stipulation.
In the early 2000s, Kane set Shane McMahon's testicles on fire, and they were yelling for more.
Took them up to the battery. Yeah,
Right.
I remember that.
You know what I mean? Shane got thrown through a plate glass window 14 times by Kurt Angle, and the fans were yelling, "One more time!"
Yeah,
You know
one
what
more
I mean?
time. Kill that motherfucker.
You know?
How many times have you seen like Steve Austin or anybody else get arrested and they end up just coming back
Yeah.
later that night because they
If a
oh,
wrestler,
you mean like Triple H getting bit in the face by a deadly snake and showed up next week?
with makeup on, with makeup on,
I'm all right. I'm okay.
look,
Arch-
this is the
Archie's-
funny part.
Archie's smoking and he's making me want a cigarette. So
Sorry. Oh,
no, that's okay. You guys keep talking. I'm gonna switch to my phone and
Okay.
so I can go have a cigarette.
I had a problem with Seth throwing up afterwards because if you were that freaked out by it, you shouldn't have been in the match.
well, that
I had a
too,
problem with
Seth-
Kevin
That's not
Owens
what
being
it-
on the, they had Kevin Owens and Murphy on the pre-show to get Murphy out of the match. Kevin Owens and Murphy were the whole show, though. If you look at it, their match was unbeatable. They were absolutely perfect in the ring against each other.
Well, and like
You
I
know?
said, what I don't get is that Seth being the heel and everything else, and prior to this, Seth saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this," and
Right.
then you're gonna sit there and throw up. Like,
I mean,
what?
I kind of got that to a point because, I mean, he did a really decent character development for it.
Right.
Like, he said that he didn't want to do it, but
But
Ray
he
was
had to.
forcing him, so he had to
Right.
do it. So, I mean, it made sense to a point, but I think it was just over the top with the vomit because Seth built up that he didn't really want to. It was that he had to,
He was being forced to, right. And I
being
get that.
forced and everything else. So I get it.
I don't
And
like
everything
it.
else, it was just over the top for me.
Oh, and the match wasn't really that good to begin with. I mean, they were okay, but Ray and Seth have had better matches on Raw than they did last night at Extreme Rules.
So now we go into what a prime example of what I think this whole show is. We have a new Raw Women's Champion.
Do we, though?
No, we don't.
Well, just like, and we'll get into it a little bit later with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt should be the new champion as well.
I agree.
I mean,
that made
like-
no sense for that to be a non-title match.
We will get into that fever dream here shortly.
But
I mean, but
I
like said-
still think I had the best description for the main event last night, but I'll say it again when we get to it.
So have we got into talking about Asuka and
we are
Yes.
now. We are
We're just
now.
getting to that. I will say this real quick, because I'm really confused. If someone can help me out with this, Vince is finally acknowledging that COVID-19 is real.
Right.
Vince is finally imposing wear a mask or get fines.
Right.
Why the f*** are we spitting on people now? Why now? Sorry, I don't know how
you're
loud
right.
the yelling
You're
is going to be on this broadcast, so I apologize, but what the actual shit? She hasn't done the spitting this whole quarantine, but the second that he invokes a mask fine, now they're going to have her do the mist.
Chris just had a Nate moment. It was great.
Chris, you want to hear something even better?
Oh,
You know what they found out today?
sorry.
Chris,
Okay, yes.
you know what they found out today?
Tell me the ref has COVID.
No, Apollo Crews has COVID, and that's why he got
That's
pulled
the
from
rumor.
the match.
That's the rumor.
He tested positive. So-
Again, it's been rumor. It hasn't been confirmed by him because nobody else can actually disclose that.
I find it a little odd that he tests positive the same week that Kayla Braxton comes back and she's had COVID twice already. Maybe they need to get that girl out of the building.
Yeah. Well, I heard a lot. What her first thing was that she had went to a party or something after one of the events,
right,
and brought it back to the performance center,
right. And then Renee Young got it, and they thought Dean Ambrose had it or John Moxley had it, and so just to protect both companies.
Adam Pearce, Jamie Noble.
Jamie
guys, it's not that serious though. Remember, it's all
no big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you watched my toy hunting videos anymore? I have a mask on through the whole video.
You know, if I go to the gas station up the street, I have a mask in my car. If I go to the
so do I.
If I go to the gas station up the street and there's, two people in the gas station or whatever, to be honest, I don't wear it. But if I go to a busy store or something like that, where I know there's going to be a bunch of people.
If you go to the performance center, you're going to wear a mask, aren't you? With 40 people in the
Well, you have to, otherwise you're going to get a $500 or $1,000 fine.
Well, Nate doesn't work there, so I don't think they make him pay a fine.
Fucking Vince is strapped for cash, so he'll do anything to get that money.
No, apparently Kevin Owens is the one who made him do it.
Yeah, and I just got a quick question. I'm curious on another thing. Do you guys listen to Something to Wrestle?
I don't anymore. I got to be honest. I haven't listened to it in a while.
Well, my only question is, at what point in time, I mean, Bruce does realize just because he works there again, he doesn't have to surgically attach his lips to Vince's
right.
ass,
And that's why I quit listening, man.
But everybody does that.
I honestly haven't listened to it after he got the job again either, because he was so like matter of factly on that podcast, and as soon as he got his job back, you can just tell he's like he makes fun of Laurinaitis all the time. He's the exact same thing.
Oh yeah,
he's a modern day Pat Patterson. He's a goon, But they're all like that. Did anybody used to watch WWE backstage on Fox Sports?
I never watched it, to be honest with you.
They hired a guy who was a wrestling journalist, Ryan Satin, to be the guy that announced, like, when somebody signed during the show or something. Like, he announced CM Punk was coming back to the show. He announced when they signed a couple of other big independent stars like Killer Cross. When he was a wrestling journalist, he slammed Vince McMahon on a daily basis. When he would come on backstage, though, the genius that is Vince McMahon signed Killer Cross. Like, really? Really?
That's your standard bullshit.
Yeah.
Corporate bullshit.
I guess my opinion on it is that, I can't blame anybody for kissing that ass.
That check's not bouncing.
You don't got to do it so great. You don't got to be the best ass kisser.
You always try to be the best no matter what it is.
That's like, you got to be like me. You got to be like me in management. Kiss enough ass, but kind of speak your mind a little bit at least.
That's my problem. I've never kissed ass.
No, I hate kissing ass.
I don't necessarily kiss ass, but Chris worked for me. He knows I'm definitely a politician. We'll put it that way.
And Nate definitely knows that I don't kiss ass.
Okay, but being a
That
politician
led
and being
to
an
quite a
ass
few
kisser.
write-ups and awkward moments.
Yeah, I think
So-
everybody at my work thinks I'm an asshole. I'm a dick. 'Cause but anyways, moving on.
The
So
W,
Yeah,
the,
back to this women's match.
Yeah.
we're on to the women's match, or still on the women's match.
how in
the-
the world?
I
Because
didn't
went on a
watch
tirade
Raw.
about spitting.
I didn't watch Raw yet. I didn't read anything about Raw yet. I'm assuming.
I watched. It still didn't explain anything. So don't,
Okay,
you know,
I was
it's
going
not
to say,
you,
I was
it's
just
you.
assuming by the way the commentators were last night that this was just going to be a reversal thing.
Well,
Well,
and-
that's the thing that got me though. Like we've all watched pro wrestling for more years than we'd like to admit. Correct?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Anytime that has ever happened, it was, oh, that's bullshit. You're Jim Ross sitting there saying, like, that's bullshit. That belting is there's
Right.
you
Right.
know. So why didn't the announcers last night be like, well, I guess maybe she is.
Yeah, I don't, and it was
Well,
so stupid.
All right.
Again,
Here's the funny thing, on the WWE's page, when you look up Bailey and they give a little bio that Bailey has, it says American-born women's wrestler, WWE Women's Champion, Women's Tag Team Champion, and part-time referee. So they even changed her bio
That's
to go
funny.
along with the storyline.
that is
Trying
funny.
to pass
That
it
is
along.
funny. I will give them
So.
credit. That's pretty good.
But yeah,
But-
it's still Asuka's belt, but Sasha has the belt on her.
I again reiterate once again,
Well, on
Well-
the website,
well-
Asuka still has the championship.
Yeah,
well worked
And
match,
right now,
well worked
the-
match by the workers.
both women's matches were good. I will say that.
Terrible booking
Terrible
for the
booking.
finish.
And
And that's-
supposedly that happened an hour before the match started. They went to them and said, "We're going to have a non-finish because no one's going
I-
to believe either one of you could beat the other one."
And it doesn't surprise me because I just read an article today that Fox and USA are both, regardless of what the WWE's PR is saying about, we're giving them some cadence because there's no crowds and blah blah. Fox and USA executives are fed up with the ratings. They're on Vince's ass. And there was one of the writers who spoke anonymously to this reporter and said that last week, literally, when they went on the air for Raw, they had no script because Vince had ripped it up and thrown it away. So they were literally doing Raw on the fly. Last time I heard of something like that, it was WCW in '99.
So here's my thing with the whole Bailey Sasha thing, like, because of course we're getting to, where Sasha's going to turn on Bailey,
Right.
and I got to tell you, like, when that happens, like, I'm going to be invested in it.
I will too,
Because-
but they've become annoying a little bit, Kyle. They're
The
getting
bad
the
thing
Bella
is,
twins
it's
annoying.
going to be Sasha's the face at this point, though. It's going to be weird.
Here's
Right.
my thing to what you said, Archie. I don't find them go away annoying yet.
Not
Like
yet.
I do, like I immediately do every time I see the Iconics.
No, I
Like
agree.
when I see
agree.
the Iconics, I can't stand them.
All right.
They're look at Chris. The
first
Iconics are the same thing as the Street Profits to me. I just I wish I could
actually-
screenshot that.
I've actually grown to like the Street Profits because of their wrestling ability.
Okay, kick him out of the conference.
No. But here's my point. I hated Lay Cool with a bloody passion. They had go away heat for me because Layla L or whatever her name was annoying and very loud. Michelle
I liked
McCool
her
was
more than
great.
Michelle.
No,
No, I
like
can't
I
stand
like Michelle
Michelle.
more.
No.
I hated the Bella Twins. I was not invested in the Bella Twins. I did not like them on any of other show. It was just
Well,
very
see, for
annoying.
me, Michelle and the Bellas both have the same syndrome. They had the, we think that wrestling talent is an STD.
Right. No, you're right about that. You're right.
All
AJ
three of them have that problem.
I almost said AJ Styles. AJ Lee was right when she said that. Wrestling is not a sexually transmitted disease. You can't become a good wrestler just because you sleep with somebody.
And
Yeah, like I said-
Michelle thinks that, and she has contaminated Baker to believe it.
But
Because the story between the two of them has built so long now, where it's to the point
yeah.
where they will do anything for each other. So like it's gonna be, it's almost gonna be like the Kevin Owens Chris Jericho turn.
which would be good. If they can get everybody that invested, I'd applaud it. But they have to wait till there's a crowd.
Oh God, yeah.
That won't work with nobody in the arena.
No.
And that's
I don't
probably
know.
that's probably what has drugged this story out. To be
Right,
honest,
it has.
I don't think it'll have the same effect as the Friendship Festival, simply because they did that well after you didn't see it coming.
When he
We are-
looked at the list,
We
yeah,
are
when-
begging and waiting for this to happen.
why is my name
We
on the
have
list?
been for a year now. We have been begging and waiting.
Chris,
So, I
when
mean,
he
it's not going
opened
to
up,
have the same magic.
when he looked at that, why is my name on this list? And then
Exactly,
he flipped it
that's
up
what I'm
to
getting-
say the
that's-
list of KO. I mean,
That-
that was genius.
That's what I'm getting at, though. We didn't see that coming so
Right.
abruptly.
Right.
We've been begging and waiting for the Sasha Bailey split.
Right, but are we waiting for Sasha to turn on Bailey or Bailey to turn on Sasha? That's the whole real question. That's what's annoying about it. Who's meant to be the heel and who's meant to be the face? You know,
Sasha should be the heel.
I think so
I don't
too.
think she will be.
And I agree with you, Chris. And I think that's because she is the most recent face or the most recent heel. So it would beg by WWE logic. By
But-
WWE logic, it would beg to be that. But Sasha's so much better a heel than she is.
But who?
But
Okay,
the thing
I
is,
hate-
we've also seen Bailey Sasha dynamic with Bailey face Sasha heel.
Mhm.
We've never seen it flip,
Yeah,
and
but
they've
Bailey-
invested way too much time and effort into
gonna
solidifying
be
Bailey as
honest.
a heel to flip her face again already.
I'm going to be honest though. Bailey as a heel, her dynamic is her being a Karen. That's all she is. If you
But
think
she
about
does it well. But she does it well.
She does it well, but if I have to hear her say Bailey Dose Belts again, I'm going to throw my shoe at the TV.
Or you mean kind
Now-
of like you want to throw your shoe at a Karen, so she's doing her job well.
Right. Well, yeah,
Now-
I hate her. I hate her. You're right.
Before you came on the air, I was saying how much I enjoyed like Bailey's fucking somber tone that she turned around on.
Oh, yeah, no, I like that.
Oh, that was so good.
But, like, she was yelling tonight on Raw, I'm Bailey Dose Belts. I'm a role model. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're annoying. Go away. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm even the thing is, though, she's doing nuance shit, like even name dropping. Like last week or the week before last during the match, and she would just randomly drop, like my friend Stone Cold said. And I'm like, what?
Right.
What?
When she did the Undertaker phone call, it was actually hysterical. When they pretended to talk to the Undertaker on the phone, that was good.
Oh,
You
fuck.
know, but
We were
you know.
42
And
minutes
again-
into this, guys. We still
And
got.
again, that's a Karen thing because Nate, working management retail, me the same. We can all attest to this. Karens always try to name drop to get their
Mhm.
way, so
Mhm.
she's doing it perfectly.
Do you know how many women and men in the store, in my store, because they see my name on my name tag, later on when they come in and I'm not there, they're like, Nate said, Nate let me do this. Nate, it's like, the fuck I did.
Well, it happened to me at the club and everything when I would have to like check IDs and shit at the club.
Mhm.
They'd be like, well, I know the owner, and I'd just be like, cool, so you know who's going to fire me if I don't look at your goddamn ID?
Whenever I worked in retail, and someone's like, well, so-and-so let me do that. They're like, that's fucking wonderful that so-and-so let you do that because
They'll
I'm
be
not.
here Wednesday, come back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't give a fuck who let you, But
So now we move on.
well, Nate, I just want to say something real quick.
Sure.
The next time I'm in Big Lots, I'm going to tell, even though you don't work at my Big Lots, I'm going to tell them Nate said, and I'm going to show them your picture,
And
I'm
and
going
you're in Jersey, and they're gonna go, who the fuck is that?
right.
yeah, fuck you. Go stick your head in the dick.
How about McIntyre and Ziggler? Here's my thing with this.
I'm gonna throw
It was
fucking
fine.
fist all over your cock and fist and fucking
It- Damn you, Kyle, for distracting me from my thoughts. It was a fine match. They did a good job, but the way Dolph Ziggler's been booked for over a decade, I had no inclination that he was going to win this match. The match was good. I thought that the finish. I love the reason I love the Claymore is, and everybody knows I'm a huge Michaels mark. Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler of all time. But one of my biggest issues with his moveset was always the stomping the foot before the super kick,
You're
because
warning your opponent.
exactly.
That's why Booker T got the best one ever during the NWO segment.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Where they were
Out
just
of
standing there, all
nowhere.
of a sudden, just like, flat. I was like, even I was like, what the hell just happened?
My favorite super kick, I said it
Shelton?
I think on the podcast on episode 100 is HBK versus Angle at WrestleMania 21. There is not a fucking hair between the two of those
Mm-hmm.
guys, and he just
But I also agree with Chris that Shelton Benjamin one,
Yeah.
Oh,
They
when
tried to redo it with Ray, and it didn't play off as well.
yeah.
He looked like he killed Ray.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, I don't have a lot to say about the match other than what I said. I mean, the match was good. I liked the finish, but I had
my
the
only
beginning,
my
too.
only problem with the match was with all the other shit matches. You knew it was just going to be some bullshit Extreme Rules stipulation, and they tried to make it all. Oh, what could it be?
All right, but let me ask you a question, though. But let me ask you a question. In the history of wrestling, we have seen heels like Christian did that against Randy Orton when he was trying to win back the title. If you get disqualified, if you get
One more
counted out,
match.
I get my title. I get to win. And sure enough, he spit in Orton's face. Orton low blowed him, and he won the title.
Mhm.
In this one, it was great to see Dolph Ziggler say, "Okay, it's going to be Extreme Rules." And the whole crowd went, "Well, that's the name of the pay-per-view, idiot. What do you mean it's going to be Extreme Rules?" And then when he said, "You can't use Extreme Rules, you can't run away," I was like, wow, that's actually the first time I've ever seen a heel use that to their advantage.
Yeah.
To actually
Honestly, what
pull it
I
off
wanted
that
to
well.
happen, I wish that there actually would have been an MVP match, because honestly, what I was sitting there hoping for, which I would have loved, is Dolph doing this whole rundown of you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, blah 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 blah. The bell rang, Clay Morton was over.
Yeah, that would have been
That's what I was
fun.
hoping for the whole time that Dolph is going through everything, and
Right.
Drew's
Go-
just going, uh-huh.
Going
my
back-
problem.
Going
Uh-huh.
back, sorry, going back just a second. I just want to bring up our buddy Juan Rosario is here. What's up, Juan? And Juan says they could have sent off Ray better than that finish, and you are
Gotta know
absolutely
Juan.
right, sir.
I don't think they sent him.
One.
I don't think they sent him off though. I think we'll see Ray back in about a month. See, this is what really pissed me off about that match. Match ends. They take Ray to the back. Seth's throwing up. Okay, fine, believable, whatever. About 40 minutes later, here comes Charlie Caruso, who's a great interviewer. Ray's going to be okay. If the nerve isn't this and if this isn't that, he could keep his vision. I'm like, how the hell do you know that in 40 minutes?
Yeah.
Nobody's supposed to know that much about somebody
It's
losing
like-
an eye in 40
It's like
minutes.
when they would take Hulk Hogan to the hospital in WCW in '94, and Eric Bischoff would follow him every time so that he could lick his balls in the hospital.
Yeah, it's like you should know, but you should
Here's my
know that
problem.
diagnosis. You know,
Here's my problem with the whole.
We're not going to get to AEW.
We're not.
it was
Here's my
good. That's all
problem.
I'll say.
We can
Correct
if
me if
we
I'm
just
wrong,
go
but,
past
okay,
an
so-
hour.
So his thing was.
We probably
I'm
will.
not going to tell you what the match stipulation is until right before the match, right?
Right.
And he stacks the deck basically against Drew McIntyre. And so the problem is that Dolph Ziggler just looks like a fucking idiot.
Hmm.
He can't even win when he didn't tell him the stipulation up until the last moment.
Right.
And
That's why,
everything against him.
honestly, the idea that I had, I think it probably would have worked better for Drew or for Dolph. That if as soon as the bell rang, he got Clay Morton pinned.
Well,
Because
that's
at
already
least-
happened though, because that has happened with Goldberg. It's happened with him. Dolph
Well, the
is the
thing is, at
sacrificial
least-
lamb.
The thing is, at least then, like what Kyle was saying, it makes him look like a putz. At least this way, Dolph has some kind of a leg to stand
Oh,
on
don't worry.
because
Watch Monday Night Raw. He looks like a putz even more. Don't worry,
why does he stay there?
because he can't make enough money being a comedian. and no other company wants them. Think of it. Every time you ever heard Dolph Ziggler's contract was coming up, you've never heard Impact wants him. AEW never made a move for him, when they first started. Nobody else wants him.
Right.
He's not that believable of a wrestler anymore. He's not the same Dolph Ziggler he was 4 or 5 years ago.
Damage.
And it is a testament to them essentially. It's all their fault because he's an amazing talent. And the only thing that ever annoys me about Dolph is sometimes his promo, like sometimes his voice when he does promos annoys the shit out of me. But other than that, I mean,
But
bell
it's
to
always
bell.
the same promo though too. I should be this. I should that. No, you
Yeah.
shouldn't because you're not believable as a champion. That's why they give you the Intercontinental in the United States for a month and a half, and then they
In
let
all
the Miz
fairness-
beat you.
In all fairness, he should be, but they
He should
screwed
be.
it up.
No, they screwed. They screwed him over big time.
Mhm.
All right, so let's get to the main event here,
The
guys.
the mushroom and Juan says Hornswoggle gives a better match than Ziggler. Damn, Juan don't like no Ziggler.
I summed this up. I summed this main event up
WLC was a good match.
in my opinion, what I said last night among us summed it up perfectly. This main event, because it's known that Bruce smokes. I think Bruce was at Vince's house, and they were smoking some really good Bruce stock, and they were watching Natural Born Killers. And when the shaman snake bite scene happened, they looked at each other and went, "That's the main event, Paul!" And we got a swamp match.
Vince said, "That's a main event, pal," and Bruce said, "I love you."
Like literally, what I said last night, all that was missing was the shaman chanting in the background.
Now, look,
And there might have been. We just might not have been able to see it. It was so dark.
up to this point, the Bone Zone match was passable. It was cut together great. It looked good. It wasn't wrestling, but it looked good. The Money in the Bank race to the top of the towers again.
It was comedy
Wrestling.
gold. It was very funny.
It was funny. It was cut
you know.
together good. It's not wrestling, but what it was great. This was fucking cut together horribly.
But all right, here's what I.
It was very. You're right. It was very disjointed.
The
It
second
was.
it shit the bed for me was
Braun seeing Braun.
I was
I
even
like
willing
that.
to deal with that.
I like that.
What shit the bed for me immediately was this is supposed to be a match and pay-per-view and everything. When he got hit by the shovel, and there was obviously a time lapse.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as that obvious time lapse, it shit the bed and I was over it.
Supposedly, though, Vince told Triple H to let Bray Wyatt and Braun call this match themselves. And Bray was the one who was heavily involved in editing it and putting it together. And he wanted a Jason or Michael Myers type feel.
And here, I'm going to say this about the match, and I'll let you guys elaborate. I'm not trying to cut anybody off.
No.
When I watched this match, what I saw did not necessarily make me want to retch my guts out. What it felt like to me was this should have been in the middle of the show. It should never have been plugged as a match. This is essentially, and let me just say this, because when I was a little dude, I was all about this. This was essentially,
Oh,
thank you. This was essentially the
I don't know.
the Jake the Snake and Ultimate Warrior in the funeral parlor segment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
was a vignette that leads to a match. I
Shout
would
out
have been
to Dan
okay
Gleason.
with that.
Shout out to Dan Gleason for his hatred of vignettes.
Now,
Just like I also pointed out, I love the fact that the guys don't work there anymore, but we're going to make sure that we dress these random guys up like Harper and Rowan.
Okay,
Mhm.
who was the random guy
This
that
was-
Braun
this was-
beating up?
This was Rarper and Hohen. Didn't you know
Right.
that? Rarper and Hohen.
All right, the guy that caught on fire with no mask on. Who was that?
I don't know.
Just a random swamp goer?
They should have
That-
put they should have put the audio of Jim Ross going ah.
No, why didn't they just throw a sheet mask on him?
Right.
Now, what I will say was cool, because we're going to shit on this for the rest of the time that we're here, but Alexa Bliss showing up
Yes.
as
Sister Abigail.
Abigail, that was fucking cool. Like, that
I
was
thought
a
it
great
was-
callback.
I thought it was Liv Morgan at first, and then when they lifted the veil, I went, "Wow, that's perfect," because he loves Alexa Bliss on TV. You know, they seem like they have a romance budding. I was like, "Wow, what a mind fuck!" You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like that
And
was that was
the
great.
thing is, that was actually really good, and it worked because it played into the whole Sister Abigail is whatever their mind.
Right.
hmm
So, I mean, that actually did like a really good like supernatural sci-fi type tie-in. That worked, but
and then we
the
get
time
to the
lapse and the dark filming, it made me feel like I was watching Alien versus Predator, where you
Did-
didn't see shit, you just heard
Right.
noise.
The
Did
boat
any-
didn't have a motor. How the fuck did that boat move?
And why did we hear a motor that wasn't there?
Yeah, and
yeah.
then
he-
it comes back.
He,
And
he borrowed it from
did-
the lake of what was it?
Did anybody feel Matt Hardy was going to come up on that boat and go, "Hey, I knew you'd be like wonderful, delete," you know, something? It was very Hardy-esque.
Yes.
It was very Hardy-esque when the boat came back. I was like, "What?"
and again, I got to reiterate
I don't remember
this.
the boat's name. The boat had a goddamn name.
The
Something-
dilapidated boat.
yes, the dilapidated
'cause-
boat.
I remember him like 4 or
I
5
was just
times
waiting
saying
for
the
a pair of wheels, a mower of lawn.
Right. That's what Braun was tied to. The mower of lawn.
Where were
No,
the
it would have
spot
been the pair of
monkeys?
wheels.
And let's face it. So apparently, fucking Braun Strowman's dead. He was drowned.
Right.
He's fucking gone.
I will admit, as much as they are like hard on of making him this supernatural serial killer, like I seriously got like really vibing original Jason Voorhees out of Crystal Lake vibes when he came
Yes.
up like that. I was like, okay, you finally nailed the vibe that you were going for.
Right.
Too bad I could give two shits about it at this point.
Because it's been
I
6 months.
truly thought that we were going to see fucking Bray Wyatt get eaten by an alligator.
I was waiting for it too.
I was waiting for some kind of alligator thing, especially when they
But-
started doing like the red key of the water, and I was like,
Right.
oh god, no.
There were 2 parts I liked about the whole thing. When Bray Wyatt was cutting that promo while Braun was tied up, and he said, "You don't understand. I'm dead. I'm not here anymore. But you chose to come home." That was like the best thing, because they're trying to tell you the Bray Wyatt character as the Wyatt family is dead,
and
the
that's
people
what
brought him back. you
and that's
know?
exactly my point about this. Is the way I said this was a fantastic vignette,
right.
but not a match.
It should have
and
been spanned over like 4 weeks, Nate.
yeah,
It shouldn't have
yeah.
been like
And-
one night. It should have been like 4 weeks of Raw and SmackDown just going on.
Well, see, the other thing, like how I said that I watched the SmackDown before this today, it made more sense to me now because I thought watching it last night was what? But then when I watched SmackDown and actually seen that Braun promo where he legit said that he was scared of the Fiend and had to stop Bray
Right.
before the Fiend could come back, and then when the Fiend popped out, now that I watch SmackDown,
Right.
and now I'm like, oh, that makes sense now.
Right. And that was the other part that I really liked. Seeing the Fiend pop up at the last minute and laughing was like, okay, that makes sense then. The Fiend is what ended this.
Mhm.
It was Bray Wyatt, but it had to be the Fiend that ended him now. Okay, great. But as Kyle said, Braun Strowman is dead. Who's the World Heavyweight Champion?
So true.
Is the boat going to pull up on SmackDown and have the title around its
Braun is
waist?
dead. Braun is dead as well as AJ got buried.
So as yeah, true.
Hey, AJ Styles is phenomenal. He's got more fingers than anybody.
And I'm just going to throw this out there. If Braun's dead, can we stop with the jackass retarded choo-choo train intro before he comes out?
Why did you? Chris, who took a blow dryer to Braun Strowman's hair and decided, hey, this is his new look? You know what I mean? They gave him like a Jerry curl for the last 3 weeks. Like, what happened there? He had a slick back ponytail.
Braun Strowman gets a Jufro next week on SmackDown.
I don't know what y'all are talking about. I'm the only one I think that noticed and is chuckling at Bray trying to grow his hair out after dreads without cutting the dreads off and being bald.
Well, if you notice at the beginning
when he was doing like the vampire thing, you could see his hair puffing, and I'm like, dude, don't try to grow your hair out. That's so adorable. You look like an idiot.
Those little in between vignettes of him as the vampire was very stupid. It made me laugh, but it was like, how do I take Bray Wyatt seriously seeing this?
My favorite one was when they played the wrong segment though.
Yeah, and
he
yelled at the rabbit.
Going,
you did that on purpose, rabbit.
Real quick. I know we're winding down here, but so where do we think we go from here? To me, I think it would be cool. So Braun Strowman's dead. What happens if Braun Strowman shows up as his own version of the Fiend? Like he's under the influence of the Fiend, the actual Fiend, and he's been corrupted or whatever.
You know, another thing they could do is make Braun Strowman the Fiend for a little while and have Bray Wyatt be Funhouse Bray Wyatt, because he kept saying Braun Strowman is you're my weapon, and I can be the hand that uses you. So now it's Bray Wyatt using Braun Strowman as a weapon.
And Braun Strowman just has to, if he's the hand, then he has to hope Bray does not want to rub one out anytime soon.
Right.
So my question to you guys, like we said, not much of a main event, but it was a great vignette. My question to the hosts is, do we want to do 30 minutes on Fight for the Fallen?
I have no problem with that. I actually enjoyed Fight for the Fallen.
If that's the case, we'll take a little break because Nate really has to pee.
I will say this real quick, though. And to what Nate has been saying about it wasn't a bad show. It was just shit finishes.
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason the IWC, for lack of better terminology, is bitching about this show.
It's because they bitch about every show.
Well,
that too.
Yeah, but I will point this out for them right now. If there was a crowd, the finishes are what you remember when you go home.
Mm-hmm.
If you bought a ticket to this show and they would have done this with people in the crowd,
right?
And to be honest, I don't think they would have done it that way. They wouldn't. I think with a crowd, it would have been. I mean, with a crowd, we may not be seeing these cinematic matches.
No, we would have.
That was going to be my next question. That was going to be my next question.
When crowds come back,
do we still do cinematic?
Oh hell!
When needed, I think when needed, sparingly.
Very sparingly. Very
once
sparingly.
Every 6 months. Like maybe a Hell in a Cell match to go be a little cinematic.
I mean, you can every once in a while. I mean, let's talk about '96 SummerSlam. You can do the Boiler Room Brawl once in a while,
right?
But which the crazy thing about that one was there were fucking Casio TVs around, tube TVs around the ring. Let's go back in time.
But SummerSlam, it's gonna be a fucking Baywatch, fucking lifeguard match.
Nate, back in the day, 96, 97, a guy would go to put somebody through the announce table, and it would take him 8 minutes to take the TVs out, shove over the lamps, get their headsets off. Now he pushes over one iPad. It's ready to go.
It's so unorganic. It looks so,
This is easy here.
While Nate Maxson goes and takes the leak, let's get some plugs out of the way here.
All right. We can take a whole break if you guys need to take a break. I can
need
do
something
that.
to drink if Kyle and Chris want to.
You said a whole break.
I'll talk to people. I don't care.
All right.
So I'll take me and Archie out. Chris and Kyle can stay, and we'll come back and we'll do 30 minutes on AEW.
It's the Chris and Kyle show.
Yes. I'm letting Chris and Kyle take over. So it's my fault.
I like it.
You know, Chris, the last time this happened, we were kind of intoxicated.
I'm working on it. It's probably a good thing we didn't. It probably was a good thing we didn't do the show last night because I was like, God damn, I need to drink so much alcohol to compress what I just watched.
Fuck, it was It was something, man.
Like I agree with Nate. The matches bell to bell were good. It was the ends, but I can understand why people are bitching because, like I said, a fan looks at the end because that's what they remember. Like, think about it when you go to the theater and you watch a movie. That entire movie, a 2-hour movie, an hour and 40 minutes of it can suck dick. But if that last 20 minutes comes out and fucking is, oh, you're going to love the movie and you're going to probably buy it. And then you're going to bitch when you get home and you put it in a player. And you're like, oh my God, this movie, oh yeah, that's right. But you don't have that when you go buy a live event ticket.
No, and that's the thing. You know, we were talking earlier about
fans still have the live event mentality.
They do, and I'm afraid that we're gonna see more of these fucking pre-tape shit and these movie things, even when the fans are allowed back in the arenas, because
that's what I'm scared of.
Yeah, because you have Kevin Dunn and you have Vince McMahon that says, we make movies, pal.
And you have Bruce Prichard going, you had corn tonight. That's a great idea, boss.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, see, I've heard rumors that Triple H is supposed to be stepping up and taking over.
I hope.
But
then again, I'm even starting to get pessimistic on that because I'm the odd man out. I'm the unpopular opinion. I'm not a Keith Lee fan.
And that's fine.
And Vince or Hunter seems so hard up and adamant about Keith Lee.
Well, think about it though. What they have with him, they have, here is a good black athlete that they can actually get behind. That is athletic.
Okay, I take that back. I'd probably love Keith if he would embrace the fact that he is a large man.
Right.
Like I've said it so many times, I can't stand big dudes doing flippy shit. I hate it.
Right.
To me, it is shitting all over the fucking. To me, it is the Young Bucks. You are shitting all over the business.
And I can see that. Like I said, if he pulled out if he did one move like a moonsault, like Vader did, and that'd be like the one big move.
But even Vader didn't even do that on a regular.
No,
that was saved for special. Keith is pulling off this plancha, flippy, everything, every match. And
see, I miss the days when a high risk move was a desperation. Like you saw, think about it. If you saw Ric Flair come off the top, it's like, oh, he's desperate. He's going to the top.
Yeah. And I mean, even that's the one thing that's bugging me about AEW. Like, I was so happy FTR went there. And they have been involved in too many high spot moments already for my liking.
Yep. Well, and that's the problem is that,
like to me, in AEW, FTR, whenever they're against somebody that's about to do like a high spot junkies, that should be FTR's time to shine and just flatten the ever-loving shit
shut that
out
shit
of them.
down. Yep. That's why, I was hoping that, we would get to see, I wanted FTR to come in there and just fucking bloody the Young Bucks.
I'm glad they're building that up, though, because that has been such, a stewing thing. That's one of those, we need people there.
Right, and I get that.
I mean, I was hoping they would, I'm not going to lie, we haven't got to that yet, but I loved the whole Lucha Brother finish.
Yep.
Because that was a dick old school move.
Yep.
But that's what worries me with a lot of it now. What's up, Omega?
Oh, look, and not only is the Omega here, but the Alpha is back too.
Oh shit!
You guys hold each other's hands or what?
Yes, we skipped through the house.
Nate and Archie what we were talking about.
I was watching.
I heard it was cocaine and hookers. I heard.
You can't prove anything.
So before
we're showing
we
up at your house, Nate.
Before
What's that?
we get into
We're gonna show up at your
AEW,
house with a bunch of alcohol.
Oh my God.
before
Yeah.
we get into
can.
AEW,
I can.
Impact Slammiversary was unbelievable. I think that was by far the best wrestling show this
I
past
kind of
week.
want to watch it.
Did you hear the beginning of the show, Archie?
No, I didn't hear.
Okay,
I
so
tuned in five minutes late.
you probably have heard over the
Because he
as
was
we've
busy
done
doing his own live feed.
as you've heard as we've done the show. I have not watched Impact in probably 10, 15 years. And I told the guys when we started, I am now going to start watching Impact because I've heard good things. And I actually subscribe to Impact Plus. So I'm going to go back and retro watch like 15 years of Impact Wrestling.
Well,
So that I may even make that a new segment on the show. Like Nate
There you
watches
go.
Impact for the first time because it'll be new to me.
I won't spoil anything for anybody who hasn't watched it yet, but it felt homegrown. The returns and debuts were phenomenal, and every match delivered except for the women's battle royal, because there was a couple of botches that you could see on camera they didn't connect with. You know, they weren't connecting with the move.
Well, from what I've heard, the biggest issue with the women's match was due to the 60-second intervals. There wasn't any time for anything to get out of first gear.
Every time a woman was getting in the ring, she'd sit in the middle of the ring and go, "Come on!" And then like 8 seconds later, someone would jump on her. You know what I mean? It's like if there's a battle royal going on or a Royal Rumble, just run over and hit somebody. Why do you got to make your presence felt in the ring and wait 8 seconds? You know, but like Susie or Sue Young or whatever her name goes by, was doing the Jushin Thunder Liger palm strikes. She hit 4 of them and only landed 1. You know what I mean? And you could tell she was nowhere near the person. Rosemary did a move where it looked like she was going upside down and nearly broke her own neck. How badly she flipped over the ring, So, but the women were kicking butt though. They were actually doing great, except for those couple little botches. Every other match though was smooth.
If anyone could help me so I could watch it, I'd be greatly appreciated.
I'll send you the link.
Because I am a huge fan of a certain duo that showed up. And when I read that they showed up, I giggled and clapped.
Are they
like I literally did the yee?
Are they from Michigan?
Uh-huh.
I will tell you.
Let's put it this way. When someone showed up to be a one-off tag partner in NXT, I'm pretty sure I fangirled all in my pants thinking he was going to get signed, and then he didn't, and I cried.
The guy that he showed up to be a tag team partner with, he won gold with in Japan.
I know.
The Time Splitters were an incredible tag team,
I know, and I was hoping he was actually going to get signed, and he didn't,
too.
and I cried.
They tried to sign him as a coach or a producer, and he said, "No, I'm still a wrestler."
Because he's awesome.
And he's not that old.
Well, that and me and Nate and possibly Kyle have the privilege of watching both of their coaches perform on a regular basis here in our area.
Okay.
And the reason I found that out is because their whole this thing, they do that because, not to confuse listeners, but Nate Matson.
Yes, Matson.
Amazing Nate Matson. And
as you can probably imagine, I was a mark for that guy.
and Truth Martini. And
I interviewed Truth Martini like 8 years ago for when I used to have a column on a wrestling website.
They're awesome.
He's awesome.
They used to wrestle around here all the time. And along with Eddie Venom, they were the Michigan Invasion, and they would always do the Detroit point.
Yeah, Truth Martini used to do that with Jay Lethal too. Would point to his hand.
And when the Motor City Machine Gun started doing it, when I seen Michigan Invasion at an indie show here that we used to go to at War Wrestling, I was like, I seen them doing it, and he flat out told me, he's like, yeah, we train them. That's them thanking us every night they go on TV.
Well, that's awesome. That's good. I like that. Keith Lee winning the NXT title and thanking his coach and the guy that helped him come up was all. It's great to see young wrestlers give back to who brought them into the game. You know what I
But
mean?
yeah, now all of our listeners know as well. Whenever you see the machine guns do this, they are actually thanking their trainers because they made it, and that's them thanking them for helping them get.
Well, they definitely
their
did make
dream.
it. They definitely did make it.
Yeah, and every time you see us do that, that's going to beefcake.
Right. Guys, I swear we wrapped up. They wrapped
Yes.
up Saturday's show on with Jake, and like 8:30 or 9 o'clock, Missy Leslie's like, Brutus is selling autographs. She's doing it on Asylum. Brutus is selling autographs and cameos if anybody's interested. I'm like, you're begging us to sign him to a virtual meet and greet right now.
Rocky Turner's here. He says he's here for the meet and greet. Sorry, Rocky. Archie is not doing autographs tonight. I'm sorry.
For Rocky, I will. For Rocky
All right.
Turner, I will.
He's
I'll
got it.
sign something.
He's got an 8x10. He's got an Archie 8x10 for you. Now, for those of you that are just joining us,
I'd sign you a custom, but
or wondering why
somebody hasn't followed through with that challenge accepted.
I have orders. Once the orders are completed, I have a head for you ready to go.
I have my own head.
Just
We
so
did
you
it.
know, I have a head that's already been modified. It looks just like you.
we
Minus
wound
the
up
glasses.
doing a full
God.
hour on Extreme Rules. So all of the hosts agreed we're going to do a half hour on AEW from last week, the Fight for the Fallen special, because
You're welcome.
yes, Aaron's here. That sorry, I had to take a pot shot at my brother. I have to on every episode. Because he is the best of us, really.
Oh,
I mean,
Aaron got me so
I'm the one
bad
that
last
brings the
night.
ratings. Don't let Aaron.
Aaron-
It pisses Aaron off that I'm the guy.
Rocky
The
wants
guns.
Rocky wants to know we are talking about getting head.
Aaron got me so bad last night with a
Oh.
prank. He put up that post.
I saw that. That was
There's
I
so
had
funny.
to laugh,
so
though.
much to talk about. Archie,
Archie
you remember?
was the reason he's saying Aaron got him because Archie was saying, "There's like, how did he know?"
Unicorn dildo. How did he know about that?
You guys remember?
That was a
Real quick.
custom.
I gotta
Before we
pay
get
homage
into-
to the New Day. I'm a
Before we
New
get
Day
into
fan.
Impact. Do you guys remember way back? Because to talk about head, but do you remember way back when Al Snow? They had the action figure of Al Snow, and he had the
Mhm.
fucking head in it.
And I got
Somebody-
banned from Walmart.
Yeah, because they thought it was an actual woman's head.
I have
Yeah,
it
it was a Barbie doll.
signed by Al.
God.
Back in the day. Back in the day. All right.
Like that was one of my favorite things too. Like I went to a meet and greet and I seen Al, and I said where I was from, and he was like, "Oh, you're a war boy." You have Al say that, dude. You're just like, yeah.
Okay, I know we're getting off topic here.
No.
Like some of the coolest guys I've ever met in person, I've expounded a million times about how cool the Rock and Roll Express were. I have a picture of me wearing their Hall of Fame rings. It was badass. Bob Backlund was cool as shit. He actually stopped me from leaving and talked to me for like 15 minutes.
That's
and-
how Fred was when I met him.
Was he? I've never
Plug
met
for
him.
Asylum. Plug for Asylum meet
Yeah,
and greet.
Blood
yeah.
for
That's
Asylum, yes, yes.
And then
awesome.
Demolition.
Amazing.
Demolition were really cool too. But I have to say, one of the coolest interactions I've ever had was actually at a war show in Lima. They had Lawler there.
I was
Probably as a failure. Were you there?
there.
I brought my
we went
kids.
together, jackass.
Okay, yeah, yes, all right, we did. But I had my kids with me. And I was standing in line to get an autograph from Lawler. I had his autobiography for him to sign, which I still have here, that he autographed for me. And there was a guy in line behind us as Lawler was talking to me and my kids. And my daughter was probably only 10 at the time. My son was maybe 6. And this guy's like all impatient and stuff. Lawler's talking to the kids, and Lawler goes, "Watch this." And Lawler looks at this guy and goes, "Look here, asshole. These kids get an extra 2 minutes because you're being an asshole." So Lawler goes down real slow behind his table, gets out his crown, puts his crown on my daughter's head. Let's take a couple of pictures, kids. So I've got like 3 Polaroids of my daughter and my son with Lawler's crown on because that guy was being a prick, and Lawler was like, no. It was really cool. Anyway, Fight for the Fallen.
Yes.
Special, AEW. There's some things, much like the pay-per-view that we just talked about, there's some things I like, some things I hate. What did you guys think overall? I know, Archie, you said you thought it was a good show.
I did. What I liked about it the most was the match Cody had with Sonny Kiss.
And that's the
Cody-
first thing we'll talk about, yep.
So Cody showed so much heelishness in that match, and the way he just beat down on that young man. But yet he put up for him online because a lot of people made fun of Cody for wrestling Sonny because Sonny is openly gay. And they were saying ugly words, and Cody put up for him. But then during the match, Cody beat the shit out of him and was doing everything heel in the book that even Arn Anderson was like, hey, what are you doing? And to see the enforcer.
I loved Arn, and it reminded me how good Arn is at old
Yeah.
school. Arn can tell an entire story with his face and not have to do a goddamn thing.
Right. He's yelling, what are you
Like
doing?
when-
And I'm like, wow,
Well,
Arn Anderson
not
feels
even
this is
that.
bad.
When Cody almost lost, and you just see Arn's face like he literally just shit himself.
Right.
I was just like, oh, Arn, I miss you.
See, the only thing that I feel that I hope doesn't happen, I've heard there's talk of putting together a new 4 Horsemen. Cody in the Flair role, the Revival in the Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard role, and putting Shawn Spears as the Arn Anderson sort of, the enforcer. But not with Arn. They want to take Cody from Arn and give Tully the role of J.J. Dillon. I think that's wrong. I would rather have Arn in that role. Arn is the Horseman. in my opinion.
I agree with that just because Arn's a better promo than Tully.
Mhm.
And I'm not disparaging Tully.
I love Tully, but Arn is the Horseman through and through. He's always been a Horseman. There was never a time there was a Horseman without Arn.
I mean, honestly, they say the 4 Horsemen, but
Yeah, they won't really call them that, but
well, no, what I'm getting at is
Pony Express.
Fortune.
No, what I'm getting at is the 4 of us. Am I the only one that thinks this? They can say the 4 Horsemen all you want, but
Right.
there's only ever been 2.
Yes.
Rick and Arn. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm not
agree.
wrong in that.
No.
No, not at all.
It's
Not at
just like Archie said. There was never a Horseman without Arn. There was never a Horseman without Flair.
Rick. Right. You can look
And-
at the 4 Horsewomen. There's not a 4 Horsemen without a Flair because Charlotte's involved in that too. You know what I mean?
We're not allowed to say that name.
Hey, look, my point is you have to have an Anderson and you have to have a Flair if you're going to make a real 4 Horsemen. So,
this match was good, and I think you're right, and I think that they are hinting towards something going on with Cody as far as that goes. I don't know that it is advantageous for this company to turn Cody Rhodes heel, though.
me neither.
They have enough heels. He is, to the fans of that company, to the people that watch that show
He's
religiously.
the face of the company.
Exactly. He is the face, the baby face of that company. They want to love him and his brother.
I'll be right back.
Okay. They want to love him and his brother, and I don't see how you turn Cody heel. I guess that's what
I think the thing is the fact that because he's the TNT champion and everything, like eventually the whole role of the open challenge, the fighting champion, after so long it becomes a boring gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So eventually they're going to have to turn him heel with the TNT championship if they want to keep it on him.
See,
That's where they need to have somebody take it from him, so he can fight.
See, my ultimate conclusion with Cody, to me, they if they don't do this, they either didn't think it through or they're totally missing their mark. Hey, what's up, Jeremy Cotton? Jeremy Cotton's here with us.
Hey, Jeremy.
Jerry.
they missed their mark with Cody because, okay, what was it, 5 months ago or whatever, whenever they did it, we had a match with Cody and Jericho,
Mhm.
and it was Cody's last dance, Cody's last chance to fight Jericho as champion, and he lost. So to me, the ultimate payoff to that was going to be, okay, so I see Jericho lose the title to Mox,
Right.
and so to me, you play that out for a while. You let Moxley be the babyface champion. You come back a year later, Jericho beats Moxley for the title, and then you have Cody come out and say, "Oh, the contract was
Right.
I couldn't get a shot at you while you were champion then, but you've lost the championship since then." Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, to me,
Right.
the ultimate thing
Right.
would be for babyface Cody. He has to avenge that somehow.
Well,
Either that or you've
that-
left a loose end. That is,
either they go that route, or Moxley holds the title a little longer. Cody will eventually drop the TNT title to MJF or somebody, be
Mhm.
so frustrated that he was the workhorse of the company, and come out as babyface Cody and be like, "Hey, Mox, I want a shot at the title. You're the champion."
and
Do
Archie,
something underhanded and steal the world title, and
I
there's heel Cody.
I just have to say, and this is not me, this is Jeremy Cotton.
I know.
Suck it,
I saw
Archie.
it. I saw it.
Now, look, I think the only way that a Cody Rhodes heel turn will work is if you turn, like a Jericho face.
Right, because they already started in on a Kenny Omega heel
And-
turn too. So
and-
now you're
and-
turning everybody heel.
And I guess I could see that,
Kenny
Kyle,
Omega
because
wasn't turning heel. He was drunk from beer being poured on his head.
Right, right.
no matter what you, and I say with you too, Kyle, turn Jericho face and then Cody. No matter how it goes, it will be a huge disappointment to me if they do not pay off.
I agree.
Do you know what I'm saying, guys? Like Jericho Jericho beat Cody. Cody can't get another shot. The whole point of a story like that is that guy eventually comes back and gets a title shot.
I
and
think
wins
that's what it's
the
going to
title.
be, but the roles are going to be reversed.
Right.
And that's fine too.
And
that
they
would
might
be
even
fine
do it-
too.
They might even do it during the match. It might be a double turn like Rock
It
Hogan.
might be. Because
You
the
know?
only person that they want to cheer more than Cody Rhodes is Jericho.
Mhm.
Right. They're singing his damn theme song.
Right.
You know, I'm singing his damn theme song. I love Judas. You know what I mean?
And it
Yeah.
could be something along the lines of as simple as Cody being like, I'm the one that should be the face of this company, but it's you, Jericho, that
Right.
you know,
Right. You know.
like why are you the one that has special edition, action figures and
Right.
We won't discuss
people are
that
singing
action
your
figure.
song and
You mean the bell pepper nosed looking Mickey Rourke figure?
I have seen way too many reviews of the sloth Jericho with the eyebrow going to the sideburn, and
Was everybody?
I see that and I felt sorry for Nate because I know he ordered it and I was like, oh.
I did.
You know, here's the thing. I saw those figures and I'm like, oh great, I get to make AEW customs. I get to, buy these figures and make customs of these guys. And then I looked at the heads after, like about a week ago, they released what they were going to look like, and it looks like everybody did this during Scan Day. You know what I mean? They couldn't get their heads.
go look at the
When they first showed them, yes, they looked
Yeah.
incredible.
Jesus, like the
The prototypes are amazing.
Yep.
yeah, the prototypes look really good, and then it's like, what did you people do? How did you
Right.
fuck this up?
What happened between prototype and production?
It's do you guys watch a lot of Netflix shows?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Have you watched the Toys That Made Us, the
Yes.
wrestling figure one?
Yes.
It's like the LGN thing where they were like, you make a figure this big so they can see the detail, and then you're supposed to shrink it, but they didn't tell them, and they just wanted it this big. So how do we know that those prototypes from like the original like promo pieces weren't like LGN sized? Like,
You're right. You may be absolutely right.
That's why
Right.
I'm a big fan of I'm not a big collector of action figures and stuff, but I love the custom things you guys do because of the fact that it harkens back to the day when like it took skill to sculpt. We didn't have real scan where they take a fucking picture of the face,
Right.
like
Mhm.
somebody had to sculpt this.
Kyle, have you ever seen the LJN custom some of these guys do?
Oh God, yeah.
They sculpt those heads from clay, and then it's like, wow, you made an Arn Anderson LJN and a Ric Flair, and it looked just like them.
I'm telling you this right now. If I ever get Nate to the store I want to go to, Archie's going to make a road trip down here just to go.
Oh, is it that Toy Vault store?
No, it's Kokomo Toy Store. In
It's
Kokomo,
down to
Indiana.
Kokomo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's actually a location that's actually been deemed a historical landmark because of how old the location is.
Okay.
But like I collect Funkos, obviously,
Yes, I looked for them for you.
and they have so many Funkos there, and they have like so many old school LJNs and retro Hasbros, and I've been trying to talk somebody
Yeah, well, you just got to put them in the car and go.
into. Yeah, well, the thing is, he conveniently leaves out his schedule until
I'm familiar.
it's date day, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, I can't. It's date day. It makes the missus upset."
But I have so many of those. I ought not duck my fucking head. That'll be the one time she watches the show.
Hey, listen.
I love my
woman-
wife.
Hey, any woman who could sit with us for over an hour and deliver trivia and come up with the name Razor Ramen has my thumb of approval for a day date.
And she does all the fucking cooking and shit for our stupid wrestling parties, which
There you go,
Chris will be at the next of those for SummerSlam. We're gonna have one for SummerSlam. We might have to have Archie join us virtually,
I'll try.
but I can't feed you any buffalo chicken dip virtually.
Can
I'll
I
make
put a mask
my
on
own.
and show up as Bait and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm here for SummerSlam."
I'm here for the hors d'oeuvres.
Archie, the funnest thing we ever did was we went to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch WrestleMania 28,
28.
Okay.
Mhm.
and Aaron wore a Special Olympics shirt to
Because
it.
he's
Okay.
special.
So the entire
He even
time,
counts a potato.
I'll be back.
There, all I kept doing
Oh,
was
no.
going, John Cena. The lady came up to the order and she's like, "Can I take your guys' order?" I'm like, "John Cena."
He'll be back because the missus just happened to walk by.
Right.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, I saw you hanging your head."
What does that mean?
Yeah.
No, that's hysterical. A couple days ago, Kyle, I don't know
He's
if you
pulling a
saw it,
Bruce Pritchard right now.
I
love you.
I put up a comment in Asylum, and all I put was, "When the fuck did we get ice cream?" I expected nobody to get the joke, and like 18 people came back with the exact line after that part. So you saying Aaron was wearing a Special Olympic shirt, it brought me back to that.
Did you hear what I said? Because he can count the potato.
Because he got the potato right. You scratched my CD. You lifted it up and you scratched it.
You'll be looking up at my butt from the sidewalk. You got that?
So
Are you in the doghouse?
who? Me?
You,
oh
yeah,
no,
you.
no.
Oh,
I want to get more beer.
Okay.
I have some. You want me to swing by?
No, because I'm probably gonna go to sleep after we're done with this shit.
It would be funny if Chris could just like lift it up and then you get it on the bottom.
Hopefully, it's not too
Let's try that like the fat cat shit. Ready?
Right. Here you go.
Way to be off cue. That was almost perfect.
So before
That
we
was the level
go,
of fucking WWE.
because we go off the rails all the time on this show, Kyle was
You see
talking
that?
about
That
that.
was better edited than the goddamn swamp match.
The time sync was so much better. The Kyle was talking about that 28, the WrestleMania 28 deal when I left. When I came back, I don't know what you guys were talking about, but I want to say something about that.
Ice cream. We were talking about ice cream.
Night. That night was the night that I decided that this woman was the one, and here's why I say that.
She didn't run
So
away screaming.
it was the first. Yes, it was the first time. It was the first time that she ever hung out with Kyle or Aaron. Okay.
Okay.
And so, of course,
Hello?
It's and Kyle know this, Chris will, but this is from Van Wert to St. Mary's, so it's about
Okay.
25 minutes. And I asked her, I said, look, I assure you we are going to drink. I assure you. She already knew I was an alcoholic. But I said, I assure you we are going to drink. Will you drive? She's like, that's fine. I'll drive us home. So I drove us there. We get fucking shit-faced.
No.
I mean, shit-faced. She has to drive us home with me and these two ass clowns. Actually, us three ass clowns. And halfway there, Aaron is like, can we pull over? Because I got to puke. Do you remember that, Kyle?
Yep.
So she pulls over on this highway so Aaron can get out of the car and barf. We're all being jackasses in the car. We get home. We drop them off. They're still being jackasses. I'm tired. We go back. I got up the next morning expecting never to see this woman again. And she's like, I had a really good time last night. I like your brother. I like
By the way-
Kyle.
By the way, are you okay?
Yeah.
The thing is, she hasn't like actually hung out with me like that. I'll be the one. I'll leave and she'll look at Nate and be like, "Never again."
It was going so fucking well. Until,
All right, let's keep talking about this goddamn TV show.
FTR versus the Lucha Brothers was really good.
It was.
For
It
two
was.
teams
I
that have
can't.
never wrestled, they meshed together very well. But that leads me to have a little bit of fear, Nate. I have a small feeling that when FTR faces the Young Bucks, it's going to be a train wreck.
It won't be. It won't be if
It's
the
going to be because everyone's going to hype it up way too much.
Right.
if they let FTR lead the match. I think it'll be fine.
It's the thing is, though, I can see where Archie's coming from because of my mentality. This shit has been a year plus brewing on social
Right.
media.
Right.
You can tell that Tony Khan is. This is one of those matches. Tony Khan is like, not till we got people.
Right.
So by the time it finally happens,
Mhm.
wrestling fans foaming at the mouth, doing the Homer
Right.
Simpson donut face.
Oh, glazed donut.
Nothing is going to live up to that expectation.
I fear
no,
I
but-
fear it's going to turn into Foley versus Sabu.
Right.
It was built.
Exactly.
It's not going to live up to the hype. There's no way it possibly
Well,
could.
did anybody see the 6-man tag, the 8-man tag a couple weeks ago
Mhm.
when FTR teamed with the Young Bucks? FTR went to the top rope twice, and that was never their deal. They don't go to the top rope.
That's
I
what I was
feel-
talking about
Yeah.
earlier with
I
Kyle when
feel-
you guys went on your break. Me and Kyle.
Well,
That's one of the things that I was like, no.
right. So, is it going to be a spot monkey spot fest and a bunch of super kicks, or are we going to get the normal good revival match mixed in with the Young Bucks that are actually willing to do the spots they're supposed to? You know what
Like
I mean?
Chris was saying, like it would be great if, like, every time the Young Bucks go for something high risk, fucking FTR just boom, fucking
Right.
stops, shuts
Right.
them down.
I'm not gonna lie. What I would love to see is one of the Bucks come off the top rope and go to do something, and Harwood, like, going to an anime nerd right now. Arn Anderson Spine Buster level 9000.
Right. No, I agree with
Catch
that.
him in a spin and just
Right.
boom.
What?
You know?
What? Yeah. What I envision of,
And
and
as
I'm
soon
not.
as he hits the mat with that, I'll be sitting here going, "Oh yeah."
Right.
The wrestling,
It'll
wrestling,
be Randy
wrestling,
Marsh in South Park. In that
Wrestling-
when he-
wrestling FTR, FTR wrestling the Bucks will
it's a
be
dream match for a lot of people.
Well, it is, and it'll show me whether or not the Bucks are what I think they are, or whether they have
Right.
more talent. And the reason I say that is it has the potential to be Anderson and Blanchard versus the Rock and Roll Express.
Agreed.
But it could very well turn into Anderson and Blanchard versus Techno Team 2000.
And
That
here's where I'm
too.
going to chime in and be that guy. It would be the best match if it wasn't an AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Because of the politics?
Because in AEW, the Jacksons have the pull.
But see, here's the good part. See, we talked about Cody. Cody has not been the main draw. He's the underling of Jericho right now. Kenny Omega's in a tag team, which Kenny Omega was not a tag team wrestler, and the Young Bucks are not the tag team champions. So the Elite are not really pulling the strings to get themselves over that much. So they might be willing to lose their first match to FTR in order to put them over, let them win the titles, and then the Bucks will win the belts from them. You know.
I guess only time is going to tell.
I think it should be one of those things where it's the Tommy Dreamer Raven thing, where no matter what the Young Bucks do, they can never ever fucking one up FTR.
Right. I agree. And FTR built themselves up in the WWE, even though Vince didn't allow them to get over that much, as an unbeatable tag team. You know, so it is doable.
The next segment on this show.
Is that by any chance Brand? Oh no, that was this week that just went by, right?
Okay, yeah. So, all right, now those that watched last week know that I am not full of shit. Because Kyle, you were here. I said last week that what are you laughing at?
What I missed.
Is this about Brandy and
No.
Ali being a tag team?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Last week on the show, I said that I actually enjoyed Jericho and Orange Cassidy, and everybody knows how much I dislike this Orange Cassidy fuck.
Yeah, but he look, you could
Him-
dislike him, but that kid could sell.
Jericho got something out of him, but this
Yep.
week's segment, and this is one that I want to say, and I don't think anybody can call bullshit on me on this one. If the WWE did this segment on their show, every internet goob would be like, I am never watching WWE again, and I am unsubscribing to the WWE network,
That
and
was
this was
last
fucking
night.
stupid.
That was last night.
Hold on.
This
though,
was stupid.
In
Hold
all
on.
fairness, my attention was completely distracted by which fucking idiot was doing the cartoon Acme Brain Banana
I
Peel
think that was
flipping.
Santana, or it might be
Yeah,
Santana. Yeah,
Him.
yeah. That when
Like,
Jericho
honestly,
said, "Get up, you
anything
idiot,"
that happened was completely washed by him.
when Jericho
doing
said,
that
"Get up,
wax
you
floor
stupid idiot," I was
bullshit.
like, "Thank you, Chris." It was the best thing Chris Jericho could have said. To him. Get up, you stupid
Yeah.
idiot. Why are you
Yeah.
falling? It's not that slippery. It's orange soda. It's not honey.
It's
You
sticky,
know?
not slippery.
Right. But see, hold on though, Nate. This is where I have to call bullshit a little bit.
Jericho
We're not-
unfolding the child doing this thing.
Oh yeah, that was a little ridiculous. But hold on though. Us four, the four of us, are not typical internet marks. We have been watching wrestling since we have been 9 and
My name's
8
Chris.
and 5. Look, I said Chris, didn't I?
He said Mark.
No. I said we're not internet marks.
I'm Internet Chris.
Okay, hi, Internet Chris. We're not like the rest of the fans that complain about things like this. We were brought up during the Attitude Era when blood, shit, ice
Pre-attitude.
cream. Well, yeah, but we were teenagers in the Attitude Era.
Mhm.
We
Blood,
we
shit.
were older than that.
Cake, mud, you name it, fell from the sky. Eddie Guerrero covered the Big Show in shit, and we laughed and we cheered. Orange soda wasn't that big of a deal, you know. I
In all
enjoyed that.
fairness, my
was a
favorite part of that
playback.
whole thing, is how magically a chunk of orange stuck to Jericho's
Yes.
goddamn head.
Yes,
Here's the difference.
Watching
Here's
the
biggest
replay and
difference.
the orange chunk that somehow stuck to his hair,
yep.
I lost it.
Here's the difference. When Eddie Guerrero does that, we know that Eddie Guerrero is a talented son of a bitch. Orange Cassidy does it, you know that he's a fucking goof.
And I understand.
I don't even need to be on this show anymore. Kyle has taken my role. He's a fucking goof.
I
And that's the
understand.
problem. And that's the problem, is that at least Eddie Guerrero is fucking legitimate.
Here's where I do have a problem with the segment. Correct me if I'm wrong. I had no problem
You're
that
wrong.
he dropped orange juice on Chris Jericho. It was a throwback to DX and Gangrel and, you know, John Cena dumping shit on Dolph Ziggler and all that. The Jaguar Stadium, because that's where they are, they're in the stadium area. There's no roof on it. Where did the orange juice come from?
Jericho
Was there a
Jericho
plane?
Yes, exactly. By your logic, Archie, Jericho and his cronies had to come out and be like, "Why is all that sun-kissed up there?"
Right,
Anyway, let's cut our promo.
right. Was there a helicopter up high, real high, and they just maybe we'll hit the ring? Who knows? I mean, what? You know what I mean? It was,
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so I got to admit, and again, I don't know if anybody has anything else on that, but I just wanted to point out the hypocrisy of the internet, guys.
You're
'Cause I like-
right about that.
I like to do that. I didn't watch the next segment because it has the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, and my fucking heart can only take so much.
It was
Not,
too
wait,
spotty.
wait. Make it even worse. It had Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Make-A-Wish Marco.
Yeah, I didn't watch this. So if you guys have anything on it,
The only thing I'll say is it
Omega was heelish.
yes, at the ending.
After the match, he started
Yeah.
beating the shit out of Make-A-Wish Marco, and the Bucks had to pull him off.
Right.
Yeah, but
it was-
Marco,
He's a punching bag.
He flicked the dude, and it's like you're beating up on him.
Right.
It's not.
Because he shouldn't. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. I'm happy
I
for
am.
him that he's chased his dream. No, I'm not going to take away the fact that the dude chased his dream. He put the work in to make his dream happen. But it's not right for him.
Guess what? I could work my ass off and fucking get good at basketball. Doesn't mean that I'm gonna fucking be able to fucking be on a court because
Exactly.
Right. You ain't going one-on-one with LeBron.
No, that's just
Now,
the way
if-
it's gonna be.
Now, if AEW had a cruiserweight or a light heavyweight division, Marco can go do what he wants.
or a high school freshman division.
You know, I mean, you know, but he can't be fighting Lance Archer and guys who are 6'5" and 300 pounds every week. It's unbelievable. My
That's
only
what I'm
problem,
saying. I'm
though,
not taking. I'm not just. I'm not discouraging him. He
No.
pursued what he loved and everything else.
right?
But it just doesn't work for him. That's why I'm so conflicted.
That kid's
like,
gonna end up murdered if he keeps fighting
I
guys
don't.
that big.
I
Look.
don't want to. I don't want to shit on him because of what he does. Because he's
No.
pursuing what he loves. But it's not right for him.
No,
No, because see, and this is the problem. And I'm off on a fucking diatribe here, but it's this
do
fucking
it.
participation trophy fucking generation we live in, where it's like, oh, just because he followed his fucking dream, he fucking tried hard, he fucking made it. No, guess what?
That's what I'm
not how it
saying.
fucking
If
goes.
he was in the indies, there'd be people that could fucking match up with him, and it would look
Right.
right. Not
Right.
here. That's why I'm saying he pursued his dream, and I'm proud that he pursued his dream.
Right,
There's indie guys that have pursued their dream and they've done really well in the indies.
right.
Doesn't mean they'd make it on TV.
No,
Guess what?
Marco's one of those. He's pursued his dreams, and I'm proud of him, but he shouldn't be where he's at.
the
If
same
I
thing
got into
could
the
be
wrestling business, I'm 5'6". I'm going to be a fucking manager because I know that I'm not fucking.
Same
you
here.
know.
same here. I'd rather be a manager. You know, the same thing could be said for a guy like Drake Maverick in WWE on NXT. He's not big
Why
enough.
Why does
And-
Drake Maverick always look like he smells a really bad fart?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm
Really.
sorry. That's just a.
But
side
my
note.
only problem with that 6-man tag, the spots were way overdone. I mean, they did a Tower of Doom code red, and if some all right, Marco Stunt jumped from Luchasaurus's shoulders,
Jericho
which basically
had
made
the
him
best
12.
Jericho
Yeah.
had the best
Yeah,
commentary. Nate will fucking probably die laughing.
definitely.
Marco did this move, and JR and Excalibur tried to fucking make it sound like it was great. And Jericho was like, it doesn't matter because if a piece of paper hits you, it doesn't make it fucking
Right.
devastating.
Exactly.
No. He was like, Marco Stunt weighs 17 pounds and 15 pounds of it is hair.
And sure enough,
On live
Nick-
television.
sure enough,
And
Nick
right after
Jackson
this, he does the Canadian Destroyer off of Luchasaurus'
Saurus
shoulders. And
onto
they
Nick
sell it, and
Jackson.
I'm like,
No, but here was the crack up though, Nate. Jericho delivers that line, they do the move. Nick Jackson kicks out at 1. He doesn't even give him a 2.5 to say, oh, it was devastating. He literally jumps out at 1. And
That sounds like a young buck.
Yeah, but my point is, you just took I mean, Luchasaurus is 7 foot.
Mhm.
Marco Stunt is 3 foot, so that's 10 feet in the air. And then Nick Jackson was on top of Kenny Omega and Matt Jackson's shoulders, so that made him about 8 feet. So you came down on your neck from 8 feet in the air, and you kick out
With
at
the
one.
Canadian Destroyer,
Right.
which at that point in time, Petey Williams is probably sitting at the house going,
Going,
"I fucking hate
motherfucker.
myself."
Right. I invented that shit. Right.
He's going to Lance Storm's house so they can bitch together. God damn it!
Right.
I feel
And
so bad for Petey Williams because that move used to be like, oh,
Hold
now
on.
it's a fucking resting chin lock.
When Adam Cole does it from the second rope, it looks cool as shit.
Can I
Marco
tell you?
Stunt does it,
It's
it
like-
doesn't look effective.
It's like when
Can-
the Hardy Boys used to wear fucking like cargo pants, and then
Right.
every fucking indie wrestler started wearing fucking
Can
cargo.
I
right.
can I tell you guys something totally off base? And I know I talked about him earlier,
What?
but it was at the same show. I have to
Mhm.
tell you that there is almost nothing as impressive as you'll ever see live as an over 50-year-old Ricky Morton doing a Canadian Destroyer
Jesus,
and
that guy
killing
can
it.
still go.
and fucking killing it, man. Like, you know, a lot of times you say, "Oh, these guys are over the hill. What are they still out here doing this for?" I know I'm getting off topic here, but
No,
Ricky
you're
and
right,
Robert, when I watched them in person perform live, it was like, you can shit on these guys all you want, but they're better at over 50 than most of these guys are at 25.
though. Right.
They're just so good. But
I agree
anyway,
with you. I agree with you.
that's another one of those sad things about the NWA possibly folding up. You know,
but Billy Corgan said it's not folding. He said there's no way.
and that's great, and I love that because I wanted it to be a break, not a fold. You know,
Well, I mean, they could come back though and just not have any fans in the arena for a little while.
It wouldn't work with that though.
what I
And I
pray.
know that, but
What I pray is that whilst the major promotions are still doing shows, I hope that NWA, because you know, I mean, wrestlers are just like us. There's guys that want to make a living. They have a profession,
Right.
and I hope that in the meantime, AEW and WWE don't sign up a bunch of that talent, like
That's what I'm scared of too.
yeah, like an Aldous and I mean all those guys. And I
Aldous
would
won't
not
go, though.
begrudge the wrestlers. I'm not at all begrudging the wrestlers. They have to make a
won't
living.
go to WWE though. Mickey James
Nickel-
signed back
Nickel-
with them, and he said no.
Nichols signed with AEW before he signs with Vince.
Right.
Definitely.
Right. But I that's what I'm afraid of for the NWA is that we come out of this and they're like, okay, we're ready to open back up. Fuck, we lost all our talent because we did.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like
they
and
did,
I understand the wrestlers. They have to make a living just like the
Of
rest
course.
of us.
Well, but see, this would be the perfect time to do something like what they did, WWE did with the NWA. Why not have the NWA kind of come into, you know, either TNA or AEW
Mm-hmm.
and kind of
I
like
mean,
invade it or whatever? And
you
have-
could.
That was something I made an argument about that about a year ago on a post on one of the groups. When Billy Corgan finally got control of the NWA, he was supposed to walk into Impact's wrestling office and Ring of Honor's wrestling office and say, "Hey, dickheads, let's work together and make the NWA a territory again, and have it be NWA Impact, NWA Ring of Honor, and NWA Power. And this way, the championship could travel to every show. You know, like Nick Aldis did go to Ring of Honor a couple of times with the NWA belt to fight Marty Scurll, and it actually worked out perfectly. They were leading to a great match. So he was supposed to go to these smaller companies and say, look, we need to work together. But he didn't because he hates Impact because of what Anthem did to him when Dixie Carter took all his money and wouldn't return it. And he doesn't really think Ring of Honor is that big. So, but he stole all their talent.
So let's wrap this fucker up.
all right.
All right. I don't think that what we saw on this show did Brian Cage any good whatsoever.
No, Taz throwing in the towel was the worst move ever.
And
In all
How
fairness,
in the
though,
fuck
it
do you
bugs
have
me.
fuck the world championship and then you throw in the fucking towel?
Right.
I'm just going to throw this out there now.
That's like having a disqualification in a Hell in a Cell.
Cage,
Mhm.
Cage should have wore a full arm fucking wrap
mhm.
Because when he came out, I don't know if you guys noticed that scar.
Yeah.
That scar is ugly.
And it's not that it's ugly, it's that it's so vibrant right now because it's still
Right.
so fresh.
Yeah, well, he
He
only
should've-
came off the injury list like 2 months ago.
Why didn't he wear like a compress sleeve or something to hide it?
Right.
Because
And you could have even worked that into the story of the match.
Right.
You know what I mean?
well, they
You
did
could,
with the Moxley promo.
but,
But
but,
the night
you
of.
see what I'm saying though?
That
Like
was
you,
the
what
night
you're
of.
saying would have even added to it. You know, like it's so
Like
bad.
he should
We
have worn a compress and Moxley ripped that down so we can see it and then be like, oh shit.
Right.
But he walked out with it going, looky, looky.
Right.
Like that was
No.
like a highlighted Cliff Notes side book.
there was so
He walked
much
out.
there was so much you could have done with this, and I knew going into this match that I knew Cage wasn't going to win the title. Okay, we all knew that.
Yeah, but I
but-
expected him to lose by disqualification. Not by throwing in the
Exactly.
damn
I am
towel.
exactly where you were, Archie. I'm exactly where you were because to me, the most effective way to do this would have been to have Cage and Taz do some brutal shit to Mox, do a disqualification, and then you come back with a
Rules
rematch.
match, a hardcore-
And Mox has a
right.
reason to get revenge. He has a reason to be more violent, and then he retains his title. And then I can still look at Brian Cage as a monster because the
Right.
first time he laid this fucker out,
Right.
Wrestling Booking 101.
But here's how they chose
But
to
here-
end it. He got tapped out, which I blinked and that match was over. It felt like it was all 12 minutes long. But yet,
Mhm.
Fight for the Fallen was a pay-per-view that they had to do on paid television, on normal television, because they didn't want to charge their fans. Okay, great. Throw in the towel, and then Darby Allin comes. Darby Allin, who weighs about 5 pounds more than Marco Stunt, came running
But
out.
Darby has that it.
You know, I like
No,
Darby
no.
Allin,
I like
but
Darby.
I don't like him to come out and beat the shit out of Brian Cage. You know?
Not immediately, anyway.
Not immediately. No.
I'm sure the thought process was, well, we don't want to have a disqualification. Well, then don't have the fucking match, as Jim Cornette would
Right.
say.
Right.
You know,
Well, I
why,
think they
why are
thought-
these two?
But-
I honestly think they were painted into a corner because they're supposed to have it prior.
Right. Prior.
But
2 weeks
due to
before.
Vince
Right.
McMahon not believing in COVID-19 being a thing
Vince
doing
and
this
Trump
shit
really are the same
correctly.
person, aren't they?
Yes, they
and not doing their shit correctly and causing their employees to fucking become positive and thus jeopardizing another fucking company's champion.
Yeah. Well, that's why.
They have-
That's why Taz.
I like
said what he did.
I like watching Chris right now because he's talking like he has an audience in front of him, and it's great because he's going back.
I'll show that.
Listen
bastard
here, my
for showing
people.
up.
Chris.
I'll show that son of a bitch for showing up on the backstage.
I'm gonna give him COVID. Renee, come here. What? Shake hands with Caleb Braxton. Why? I know. I've known her for 3 years. No, but like I thought for sure after Taz threw in the towel, he gets in the ring, and I see Brian Cage picking up the FTW title. I was expecting to see him shove it up Taz's ass, and attempt to like stop the whole manager bullshit with Taz
Mhm.
because
Well,
that
they've
would have
already
made the
been
most
hinting
sense.
at that already too. They've been hinting
Right.
at that already too.
You know, it's
But I
like
mean,
okay,
it should not
you know,
fall on Jim Ross to try
Right.
to beat it into your head that Taz is protecting his investment.
Mhm.
Why is
And
he
Cracker
there?
was though. Wait a minute.
Fucking, why is if I'm Taz and I have to throw in the fucking towel on my investment, then he's not a fucking investment to begin with.
Right, right.
And the whole thing is the same thing that I said when they did. And again, like I said, guys, like I've said a million times, I like AEW much more than I thought I would when it started. But it's this Cage Taz thing, which I think is a good dynamic.
Eh.
And I've always loved Taz on the mic, and I think this is a great role for him. It feels like Cody and MJF, where they felt like they needed to tell this story, but they're telling it so fast. Like you haven't even given me a chance to get invested in these guys together yet before you're already giving me hints they might split up.
Right.
And
But that
and
happens with Taz. That happened in TNA when he managed Samoa Joe for 3 weeks.
well, I
and
wouldn't
then he just
know,
went-
but I might in
Right.
about 6 months.
But here's the thing, though. okay. Jericho's like, why'd he throw in the towel? And Jim Ross explained why. And then Jericho looks at Excalibur and goes, see, I wouldn't have known that if JR didn't explain it. Well, wait a minute. You knew this was the finish to your main event.
So
Why is
Jericho's
Jericho playing dumb?
Jericho's literally explaining on the TV show.
Right.
Jericho's trying to be us.
Yes, that's what I was about. That's what I was trying to get at. Like Jericho's
But it
like,
looks
oh well,
stupid.
our fans are not fucking stupid guys, so they might
Right.
catch
But
on to this.
Jericho's the bad guy, so he shouldn't be fucking playing
Right.
us.
Right. Right.
So I wanted
Anything,
to.
it should have been Excalibur playing us.
Right. Right.
And Jericho going, Excalibur, you ass clown. It's because.
Right.
So overall, Fight for the Fallen wasn't bad. It wasn't great. I hope
Fight
to
for the
see.
Fallen was a little better than
Side
Extreme
note,
Rules.
Darby Allin's sleeve tattoo that you didn't get to see, but I've seen pictures of it.
It's cool.
Oh my god, that dude has amazing ink work. Have you seen it?
Yes,
I have not.
It's amazing.
You know how he had that? You know how he's got the skeletal hand
Right.
tattoo?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's the whole
Full-sleeve
arm.
skeletal.
Oh wow.
It is
Yeah,
so.
It's sick.
Oh.
Now we know what he did. Now we know what he did for the month he was away, pretending to be injured.
And the
Yeah.
sad thing is, I'm catching up on Impact right now and watching Sami Callihan. The only thing that's bugging me, and I'm like, why did him and Kevin Owens go like BFF T-Rex tattoo thing?
You're not
Hey,
going to be
bye,
very
Nate.
impressed with. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. You're not going to be very impressed with Sami Callihan in another week or so once you're watching.
Well, isn't he fired anyway, or
No.
did he keep his job?
He was on the pay-per-view.
Christ is fired. That's right.
Yes,
But-
one of the Chris brothers.
I
think
don't
it's
know
Jake.
where Nate's gone to.
Yeah, I don't either.
But
His phone might have died or something.
probably. So let's go ahead and maybe he'll jump back in before we sign off here. But let's go ahead and do our sign offs. Chris?
Just my usual. We're still going through this whole ordeal right now globally. If you're watching this, obviously you like pro wrestling. With that being said, if you've ever gone to indie shows or anything else, remember all these guys started from the bottom and worked their way up.
Yep.
So if you've got indie wrestlers, even if you've got pro guys, buy their merch, support them, help them out. If we want to keep this shit alive, we have to do it our part.
Definitely.
Get up there, show them love. Archie here, I'm sure he's going to be plugging the meet and greets coming up with the Asylum. That's going to help out our industry, or not our industry, the industry. Everything else is going to show love. Just my usual thing. Like what you like, support what you love. Don't be a dick.
Amen.
So
Amen.
okay,
Did the Fiend get you?
no. The going to get another beer got me.
Okay.
You guys have all done your goodbyes?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. I heard Chris say his
Yes.
Archie?
I know I, for one, speak for a lot of people. I cannot wait until COVID is over. Stay safe. Wear a mask. Wear gloves. Hand sanitizer, whether it helps or not. Yes, support wrestling.
I don't agree with the mat or the glove thing. So,
Well, I don't wear the gloves all the time, but the mask is kind of something that I feel that's something.
well, the only reason I don't agree with the gloves is they've already proven when you wear gloves, the virus will spread even more on everything. So,
Right. I agree.
if you're gonna wear gloves, take a whole box because you got to change them every time you touch something.
Agreed. This Saturday we have a virtual meet and greet with Fred Ottman, aka Tugboat Typhoon and Shockmaster, and Cousin Luke.
The most amazing guy that you'll ever meet. Like, I literally tell everybody I've ever talked to that's a wrestling fan, the best way to describe Fred Ottman would be
Genuine, in my
Uncle
opinion.
Fred.
Uncle Fred. Well, that's how I've been promoting it. Uncle Fred and Cousin Luke come into the asylum.
Well, I met him in Fort Wayne. He was there, and I've told this story before. I was just there wasn't anybody seeing him right there when I walked by, and I said hi. He actually had me sit down, and he just started telling me stories. Like, he is such a genuine, pure soul.
Yes. Big
Like,
heart.
he's just one of those guys that loves what he's done, and that it's affected people, and that people appreciate what he's done.
Agreed.
He's not one of those guys that's like, I was a superstar.
Nope.
He's one of those blue collar guys that are still. He comes across as one of those guys that still sit there and be like, "Wow, I affected someone, and I don't know
Right.
how."
Right.
Right.
And I think that's what we're going to get out of this Saturday's meet and greet from him, as well as with cousin Luke of the Bushwhackers. In 2 weeks, we've got Rikishi coming up. And a bunch of big names. We have Diamond Dallas Page on deck, Mick Foley, Victoria, which we might have a special guest with her. We're not sure yet. And there's
The
always
Spider?
a new name. No.
Oh,
I'll give a quick hint, but I don't know if it's for sure yet. The only thing I'll say is hardcore country. Might, may not, not sure yet. And just like Chris said, support wrestling, no matter which one it is. If you like indie wrestling, support indie wrestling. If you're a WWE fan, watch WWE. I personally watch every wrestling that's on television or streaming sites that I can. And I'm a
Which
fan of
reminds
all of
me,
it.
don't forget to send me that link, Art.
I will send you the link as soon as it's over. You can actually watch anything on there. It's every wrestling possible.
Oh, he
So-
said anything. I thought I was going to get to watch some really weird air
No.
level porn.
No. No, Aaron hasn't uploaded anything new in like a year on that site. So, and keep checking out the We Can't Wrestle podcast and That's Not Wrestling show.
The real star of the show, Kyle.
Yeah.
Shoulders. How you doing, Shoulders?
I doing. No,
Kylie
I want to
Shoulders.
leave you guys with a piece of words of wisdom. The only time you should ever look in your neighbor's cup is to make sure they have enough.
I like that. I
You
like
need me
that.
to come by and bring some beer?
Because
Kyle
each
opened.
other-
Kyle, you know, while we were talking, Kyle opened a fucking fortune cookie. He didn't come up with that. All right. So what I want to leave you guys with is this: two
I
things.
almost did a Chinese racist voice. I'm glad I did.
I'm glad you didn't too.
I want Chinese food now. God damn it.
There's
I had
a
some
cou-
yesterday. It was terrible.
There's a couple of things I want to mention before we go off the air. Obviously, the virtual asylum and the asylum, as we talk about at length every single week and every single show. The asylum, the best collecting community, the best wrestling community in the business, doing great things. The virtual asylum, obviously, with the meet and greets. But the couple things that I want to bring up here, I'm trying to look at Archie's screen. What is that?
Plastic
is a-
porn.
Yeah, no, that is a Vampiro and
A Vampiro?
Tyrion Cross. Vampiro and
Vampiro
Killer Tyrion
Hero.
Cross.
Hmm.
They just got done at Bobby Anders Tattoo Parlor.
Nice.
I made the figures. He does the tattoos.
That was one of the things I was going to say. I said we talk about the asylum all the time on the show, and I feel like sometimes we overlook World Championship customs. That's what I wanted to bring up.
But I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely, and we
We just
appreciate
did-
you.
We just hit
Um,
900 members the other day, and we have some of the best members possible because 75% of them are customizers. So you can see things that are Marvel,
Hmm.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's a guy on there that does G.I. Joes. Do we even have a member who does LJNs as G.I. Joe figures? Which
I saw-
think is
yeah.
unbelievable. You know, it's like, wow, you made a Duke, but you used an Iron Sheik. Wow. You know,
Great customizers, Archie included, and of course, Blevins and his magnets. We would be
Yes.
remiss if we didn't mention Josh
Bobby-
Blevins' magnets.
Bobby
Those are some of
Anders
the
and his
coolest
muscles.
freaking magnets.
I have Blevins' magnets back here.
I have them on my fridge. He freaked out. He's like, I thought you just put those in your you know, one of your tubs for your collection. I'm like, no, they're on my fridge, man. I love
They're a
them.
magnet.
You know,
I don't have any. I don't think I've even taken any off the card, but that's a good idea. I'll put them
the
on
first
3 each.
the first 3 he sent me, he wasn't doing the cards yet, and then he sent me a Ric Flair and a custom of myself as a magnet, and I died laughing of that one. So,
And the other one that I wanted to mention really quick before we went on the air, because, and Archie knows, Fandemonium,
yes,
friends of ours at the Asylum and the We Can't Wrestle podcast. I want to give a big shout out to Danny Torres and Nick Hestelo and the GWC for not only being friends of the Asylum and the We Can't Wrestle podcast, but they actually, helped me out promoting the show too. They totally help me promote episode 100. So
Yes, sir.
those guys do some great events. Hestelo had a mail away Hogan tonight.
yep. I came in 9th.
Yes,
Ninth
Archie.
click.
Yeah, Archie. Poor Archie. Poor Archie was 9th click on that one. But check out Fandemonium, most definitely. Check out WFigs. We're a community in the
we
wrestling internet business, and this small family here between We Can't Wrestle and Asylum and World Championship Customs and Kyle's Fingers. We're a small community, but we're a large community, if that makes sense.
Speaking of which, you just brought it up. Go download, if you haven't yet, episode 100. Over almost 6 hours of great content.
It's a whole fucking workday, people.
We
Get
put in a
off too
lot of
much.
content. We put in a lot of content for that.
Be
Mhm.
on the lookout for episode 101.
Hall of Shame.
Yes,
would
the
do-
whole
I've been
shit.
drinking. I broke the seal. We need to wrap this up.
I would just like to say we all allowed Aaron to win trivia.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't lose on purpose. We lost on purpose.
I will drive to
helps
Jersey
you.
to punch Archie in the mouth.
All right, we're going to sign off. Thank you for joining us.
Flushing Meadows.
The longest episode of That's Not Wrestling. Thank you, guys. Thank you, my co-hosts. I love you guys all, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Go pee, Chris.
Thanks. Bye.